2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Was hanging out with Seth Rogen's mom in Europe.
And I actually
didn't even know it.
I didn't even know it.
Wait, what should we email Seth Rogen's mom? Can we do this all as a show? Can we have her?
Is that your Seth Rogen impersonator?
You sound like Beavis and Butthead. So we have to figure out, what do we want to write to Seth Rogen's mom?
Let's ask Seth to come on the show and talk to the Weedham.
He would be like their Pied Piper.
She's going to get him to do a cameo. That's what's going to end up happening.
Where we're going to pay. What a deal. Way to know people in high places.
She'll get a 25% off discount.
I know what the cameo would say. Be, hey, I heard you were on a cruise with my mom. Cool.
And that costs $600.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
I am here to give a little hope to the Jets. Say welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, a position Perloff I never thought I would be in. And, of course, we'll get to my Bills and how awful they were last night, specifically Josh Allen, in a moment. But I'm here to give some hope to the Jets today.
Hope for what?
Hope that the season is not lost.
Lost? Like, what do you mean lost?
Well,
like hope that they're going to be 9-7 or something, and 9-8.
That they're going to be a playoff team and a formidable playoff team. I can't tell you that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. That would be silly. Aaron Rodgers has a torn Achilles. It's been confirmed. 4 snaps last night. That's all there was of the Aaron Rodgers in 2023 with the New York Jets. The era might be over completely.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done with that. You think the New York Jets, the New York football Jets, are going to be a formidable playoff team?
I do. And
define
you want to know
formidable.
Why? This is why. And this is why I'm going to give the hope to the Jets fans or anyone who was hoping the Jets would be interesting this year. I don't know. They're not going to be Rodgers, ayahuasca, dark retreat type interesting. But why can't the Jets be the San Francisco 49ers? Why can't they just find a quarterback who can play point guard / point guard plus, which is exactly what Brock Purdy says he is for the 49ers? You have an amazing defense. I mean, I don't know if it's the 85 Bears and the Legion of Boom, as DJ Reed says, but it is very, very good. You have playmakers on offense. You've got Breece Hall, who looks like he's all the way back from an ACL. You added Dalvin Cook. Garrett Wilson's touchdown reception. Even Joe Buck lost his mind on that one last night. And you have other serviceable receivers. Your offensive line is not as good as the 49ers, and your head coach isn't as good as Kyle Shanahan. But all is not lost here. You can still win with this formula.
So Brock Purdy took over a team, the bones of a team that had been to the Super Bowl in 2019, had been to the NFC title game the year before he got there. What had the Jets been like? That was a great, great roster. And I'm so sorry, but first of all, the Niners defense is better than the Jets defense. The Niners defense has Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. It's ridiculous. And the weapons are better on the Niners. And also, Purdy's about 4 years older than Zach Wilson, has played 20 times more football. And I just don't see, this seems crazy to me.
I never said Zach Wilson was going to be the point guard. I never said Zach Wilson was going to be the point guard because I don't think Zach Wilson can play point guard. I don't think that's in his game. You need somebody who's just a lot more just competent than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson still looks like deer in headlights and can't make the throws and, you know.
He made some nice throws last night.
Well, the Garrett Wilson, that was all on Wilson, that touchdown reception.
He had 2 20-yard passes to Wilson that were awesome.
Well, and that's also ridiculous because the Bills' defense was not being aggressive. Again, we'll get to the Bills in a moment.
But wait, but at least he knows the system. So you're going to bring in a Brock Purdy, at least got to spend the offseason there from whatever the draft was on. How is this point guard going to learn the plays? You're going to have a Nathaniel Hackett acolyte? You want one of Nathaniel Hackett's former quarterbacks?
Step up Blake Bortles. Has anyone seen Blake Bortles? No, you're going to have somebody who in the first week can learn 15 plays. In the second week can get more of the playbook and then more and more and more. And you're just going to have to build incrementally. And you're going to have your great defense and you're going to have your playmakers who can do the work for you. Now, their schedule doesn't do them any favors. You got to turn around and go to Dallas and play the Cowboys, and that's going to be extremely difficult. But there is a chance to right this ship. It's happened so early in the season. I'm not saying it's a gift. I'm not silver lining this thing at all for Jets fans. I'm not that stupid. But it happened earlier in the season where you still have a shot. Plus, you just started 1-0 last night, so you're ahead of the 8 ball.
Has there ever been a mid-season quarterback trade that has created a formidable playoff team? Nothing's popping in mind.
Well, maybe not a trade, but again, you're so early in the season.
Yeah, but guys have not spent the entire summer with this team. Like, for example, Tom Brady's name's been thrown around. Yeah. You're telling me Tom Brady's going to come in midway between week 1 and 2 in an offense he's never played in, get to know all the receivers, get to know all the play calls, and he's never going to put himself in that position because whoever comes in here is going to look bad.
Okay. You were the one who said that if Aaron Rodgers was having an MVP-like season and putting up those numbers for the Jets, that would have been a bad sign.
Well, that was very clear because they can run the ball, and that's what they should be doing.
Right, because you don't need Rodgers to be that amazing of a quarterback in order for this team to be good. Okay, so you're talking about basically simplifying things. That's what you're talking about. You can still effectively run the ball, and if you just play smart and you don't turn the ball over, look at how many games that can win you in the NFL. Hell, the Bills just handed you a game last night.
Right.
Belichick always says this. You got to learn how to not lose before you can learn how to win. You can squeak out a lot of games by just not losing the game. And there was case in point last night.
So, okay. The New York Jets are going to buck a 104-year historical trend in the NFL, be the first team ever to trade midseason for a quarterback or sign a quarterback.
It's not midseason. It's week 2.
Well, whatever. The guy has not out of camp. And is he going to be ready for week 2? He won't be ready till week 3 because they're not putting him out against the Cowboys.
Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo was traded midseason, and they won 5 in a row.
Completely meaningless
Okay,
games.
But you asked me for an example, and I just gave one there.
And that was a formidable playoff team? No, they didn't even make the playoffs.
They didn't because they were in such a hole from before.
Right, those were meaningless games. And by the way, it was the worst thing that ever happened because then they gave them all this money based on those 5 games.
Well, they went to the Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah, I mean, but paying Jimmy G that money was crazy.
Okay, but agree to disagree, okay?
I just think that, first of all,
all's not lost here from the Jets.
Let's look at my friend Case Keenum, who's been thrown out as a possible name for the Jets. In 2018, I think, the year of the Minneapolis Miracle, he took over for an injured Sam Bradford in week 2 or something. But he'd been playing that exact offense for 6 years, the Gary Kubiak, Mike Shanahan offense. He knew it better than the coaches did because, Case was pretty old at that point. He came in the league at 25.
Also, he was in college for 7 years, so I'm assuming he had a PhD in something.
He knew that offense like the back of his hand. I do think that's a huge factor. So I don't think he can bring in someone off the street, teach him the offense, and then say, all right, here you go, especially against that schedule. I think that's way too much ask. I think Zach Wilson's going to start until he completely
So you just think the Jets are done?
No, I think they're going to be kind of like last year. Last year they were, 7-10? I think they improve a little bit on that, maybe 8, 9, 10 wins.
And miss the playoffs.
They might sneak in as a wild card, but they, kind of like the Patriots 2 years ago with Mac Jones. Like, they'll have no prayer in the opening. If they do make it as a wild card, they'll just get blown out in the first round.
Okay. I think they're going to be a formidable team because once you actually get to the playoffs, which I think the Jets still have a very good chance of doing, I know that's crazy, but I still think so. What's the thing that wins you playoff games? Defense and running the ball.
Well, I know, but isn't this very similar to the last year's Jets team? Like, what's the major difference to you? Just that Garrett Wilson's a year older?
No, that. They added Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall and hopefully is healthy for an entire season. You added on the defense. Like, you've done a good job here. So, yeah. Here's the thing. I know Samter is sick to his stomach right now, but I'm not letting you, Samter, denounce your Jets fandom. I'm sorry. You've rolled with this franchise this long. You can't jump off the bandwagon now.
I'm off.
That's ridiculous.
I'm off.
You've got to stay on. We have to tie you to this thing.
No. I'm done. I mean, you're a Bills fan. You've had four Super Bowls where you saw it happen.
I was a child.
You're a Mets fan. You've been through a year.
Yeah. Are you trying to make me feel better or worse?
Eventually, you just have to give up. When your franchise is cursed and the sports gods are against you, you just have to give up. It's not worth the heartache. I haven't been this depressed about sports in over a decade. Last night, I was inconsolable.
You turned the show. You turned the game off last night.
I turned the game off, and at no point did I turn it back on, and I will not watch the Jets again for the rest of the season.
Ooh.
Why didn't you turn the game back on when you took the lead in the fourth quarter?
Because winning a Week 1 game does not remove the curse that this franchise will face for the rest of the franchise's history. The Jets need to fold as a team. They need to no longer exist. I will no longer be a fan. The Jets are cursed. It's all because Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl III, 1968, and the Jets have been cursed ever since. Vinny Testaverde, Chad Pennington, Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble, Sam Darnold seeing ghosts, Zach Wilson, and now Aaron Rodgers. We're jinxed. We're cursed. It's over. I'm done.
Wait. What if this scenario unfolded? What if they had lost as they should have last night? And then they start losing. And then they start losing a few more games. And then they go Zach Wilson with some bad backup. Then if Caleb Williams was in New York next year, would that get you back on board?
No, because if they got the number 1 pick overall, then Caleb Williams would stay in college, and we would not get him. We would get Drake May.
It's like Peyton Manning.
The curse would continue. We'd get Drake May, and Drake May would do what all other UNC quarterbacks do in the NFL and suck.
He'd be the Mitch Trubisky, too.
Oh, we can dream.
Well, we have to give Mike credit. That is a consistent, sustained take on a realistic take. He's closer to reality than you are with this formidable playoff team.
Dude, Samter said he's about to become a Chiefs fan. Do you realize?
Not about to. I am now a Chiefs fan.
Get out of here.
No.
Get out of here.
Well, you're going to jinx the Chiefs, too.
Yeah, you think they want you coming over?
I'm not the jinx.
Become a Chiefs fan, please.
I'm also a Yankees fan, right? I've seen 5 World Series, so I'm not a jinx. The Jets are the jinx.
What have the Yankees done lately, though?
2009 was reasonable enough.
Oh, boy.
All right,
855-212-4CBS, yes.
I got a side bet. Who wins more games this year, the Buffalo Bills or the New York Jets? And can I real quick before we move on?
That is a hell of a bet.
No way. I'll bet my mortgage, which I don't have because I rent, on the Bills winning more. The Bills, I know exactly what happened last night. You can talk about Josh Allen's turnovers and all that.
Yeah.
They clearly had a huge emotional letdown after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Listen, this is a team that went through DeMar Hamlin.
You think that's what happened?
Oh, you could see the wind get sucked out of their sails so badly last night.
The wind gets sucked out of their sails? They should have been licking their chops.
No, they basically, they thought they had the game won. Everything they did, Josh Allen never even considered they were going to lose the game until the fourth quarter. They clearly lost their edge after that play.
Do you realize if that's actually true?
Definitely
if
true.
Even an iota of that is actually true, then the Bills would be the most mentally weak team in the history of the NFL.
Did you watch last year? They are a team that attracts huge emotional games in prime time.
Okay,
and then things happen and yes, maybe they're not tough enough, but it is a little ridiculous that they're always here for these momentous events.
Well, if the best player on the other team goes down, you can't all of a sudden be taken out of your game. That to me would be even worse, and an even worse indictment on the Bills than what I actually saw last night. Which is...
It's one game. Stop with indictment.
It's not.
Same thing happened to the Chiefs on Thursday night.
The Chiefs had excuses with no Kelsey and no Chris Jones. Joe Burrow has an excuse that he was injured in the preseason and didn't play any preseason or training camp. This was the Bills at full strength, coming in with a wounded opponent who got hurt in 4 snaps.
Yeah.
The franchise quarterback goes out the window, and they couldn't finish the job.
Right, but then they'll go ahead and win a bunch of other games because they're a pretty good team.
No. Can I hear,
they're not going to win all
Can
those
I hear
games.
Josh Allen, please, Stu? Can I hear Josh Allen on his bad game against the Jets?
Yeah, trying to force the ball. Yeah, same place, different day.
Exactly. He knows it, but he can't do anything about it. They know what they're doing, and Josh Allen has to know what he's doing is hurting the team. And this goes back to last season. And I'm not a big, last season bleeds into this season. But when it's Josh Allen, you have to just stare this in the face. Ever since that Bears game on New Year's Eve of last year, he has been a turnover machine. Earth to Josh Allen, you're not going to win the Super Bowl on every play. He's got to understand that. He has to be smarter. And I'm sorry if this counts as a meltdown. I don't care. We can take the board and we can just shove it in the hallway and push it down the stairs because I can't do this again. He's so good on some plays and so god-awful on others. He's got to be smarter. He's got to realize that the franchise is on his shoulders, but he can't act like the game is on his hand on every down. Perloff, he's got to be smarter.
He could play left-handed and lead the Bills to more wins than the Jets this year. There is no way the Jets finish with a better record than the Buffalo Bills. There's 0.0 way.
I mean, I'm tempted to shake you on it. Now, here's the thing for the Bills. They have a long way to go, and if this is actually a wake-up call / kick in the ass, then great. They can't keep Josh Allen. I'm not going to say they. Josh Allen can't keep playing this way. The all or nothing, I know it's worked for other guys.
You're week 1 overreacting like it's out of control. Like you did on Sunday. This is week 1. It doesn't mean anything.
Perloff, Josh Allen just said, same bleep, different day. It's not just about week 1. This has been going back to last year.
You understand, though, it's an 18-week schedule. Whatever happens in week 1, we have to fight the urge to act like this is the way it's going to be moving forward. It's week 1.
Okay.
It was a weird game. First of all, it was pouring rain 2 hours before they had to take
Stop with the rain and the weather. Honestly, stop with the weather.
You don't think that effect, like that field was a mess for Aaron Rodgers? Like this whole game was bizarre. Allen was completely off his rhythm.
It was definitely
He was completely off his rhythm, and he never even thought he was going to lose. That's why he threw the ball down. It's like, what's the difference? We're going to beat the Jets anyway. Zach Wilson's out there. So he totally lost his mental edge. Zach Wilson beat them
last year. That kind of hubris, then, is another thing that will get you in trouble.
It's not Hamlet. Stop. It's week 1.
Wait.
They're going to win next week, and you're not even going to remember this.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say they were rattled because Rodgers went down, and then they knew that they were going to win the whole time.
Yeah, they lost their edge. That's what I mean. They lost their edge. So they thought when Rodgers went down, they actually said, "Oh, we won this game."
Then that's weak. Because it's the NFL, and you can never.
It obviously happened to the Chiefs. The Chiefs were up in the fourth quarter at Arrowhead. Did you think it even dawned on Patrick Mahomes he might lose that game? He totally lost his edge in that game, and they gave up the game to the Lions.
What evidence did the Bills have throughout that game that they were obviously going to win that game?
They were up 13-3 on the New York Jets with Zach Wilson. If that's not evidence, then there is no evidence on planet Earth. That is the most obvious evidence of ever.
They should have been up 30-3. That's the evidence. They should have been up 30-3, not 13-3.
The live bet was 500-1 or something. It was
Aaron Rodgers goes out and they decide to kick a field goal when they're facing a 4th and 2 at the 30. Just freaking go for it. Just be aggressive at the right times. Set a tone. And don't just think you have it in the bag because they didn't. And the Jets have always played the Bills right. This is the meltdown. You guys are witnessing the meltdown. We're 16 minutes into the show.
We witnessed the meltdown. It already says zeros behind you. I don't know who changed it, but somebody went back there and changed the 22 to a 0.
I can't just keep giving them passes like that they're great, they're great, they're great. If you're great, then you beat Zach Wilson's Jets. If you're great, you beat Zach Wilson's Jets.
It's one game.
It's been going on since last year. Yeah. Josh Allen said, same bleep, different day.
Same place, different day.
Well, let's make a heavy bet on this one, though, because I am so confident I will win this bet unless Josh Allen gets hurt. There is no way the Jets have a better record than the Bills. There is no way.
Here's the thing.
I go at the end of the month. If the Bills have a worse record than the Jets at the end of the month, then I will come to your house and clean it once a week for the next 5 years.
That's tempting. I really think This is why I'm going to hesitate to take that bet right this moment.
Because it's insane?
No, not because it's insane. Because I don't know who the Jets are bringing in. They have to bring in somebody. It's not going to be Zach Wilson for the rest of the year, right? They have to bring in somebody.
Oh, man.
That will determine whether I think I'm going to take this bet.
You should not take this bet because this bet is crazy.
I hope I don't need to. But
What do you mean? So wait.
I hope that you're not right, and I hope that they're not vying here. But everyone has been penciling in the Bills like this is fine. Good teams, really good teams, elite teams win that game last night.
So Jets, by the way, just back to Jets for 1 second. Buffalo, they beat Buffalo, who they were trailing. Crazy game. At Dallas, 10-point dogs. Versus New England, they could win that game. Then they got Kansas City, at Denver, and the Eagles. You honestly,
brutal schedule.
You see a lot of wins there?
No, we said that from the jump. The Jets schedule was brutal.
And you think Buffalo is going to basically end up worse than that?
No, but here's the thing about the Jets now. The Jets now, no pressure. All of this is off. All that hard knock stuff and Rodgers and the Super Bowl expectations. The pressure is gone, yet the team is still good. So you have that. Meanwhile, the Bills beat themselves last night. Sean McDermott said it after the game. They played two opponents. They played the Jets and they played themselves. And they lost on both occasions. So you got to get out of your own way first. And I'm not sure that the Bills can get out of their own way.
Okay.
Look, play Stu's Raiders next week, coming off of a big win over Denver.
Stu's, who's going to have more wins this year, the Bills or the Jets?
I still think the Bills.
Yeah, you, me, and everyone else except for Maggie Gray.
Listen, I'm not taking that bet yet. We still have a lot of things to settle here.
You're not taking that bet. You
Jets.
have to take that bet.
No, we have a lot of things to settle here with the Jets. Like, who's going to play quarterback for them? Who's going to be this point guard? Who's going to do it?
Oh, man. First of all, you
names.
acknowledge that it is a little challenging to come in after, basically after week 2 and learn the whole thing and be so great.
Definitely. But do you think that Joe Douglas is on the phone today?
He's on the phone, but I think Zach Wilson keeps that job for a while until he loses it. Just hand the ball off.
To who? Tim Boyle? Like who?
To Brees Hall? I'm saying, no, they bring in a veteran who's going to back up, but I don't think that backup's going to play anytime soon. I assume Zach Wilson can all you're going to do is hand the ball off. Just do that. Zach Wilson can do that. By the way, he wasn't bad last night. 14 for 21, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He had some really, really nice throws to Wilson. He really likes Wilson. It's like a different
everyone likes throwing to Garrett Wilson. He's so awesome. The one thing about Zach Wilson, though, is that he keeps going backwards. There's a lot of plays. Yes, he's got a good arm. He can make some nice throws, but there's a lot of plays where he's just running backwards, and that happened, and the Bills were chasing him out last night.
Yeah, but I know Peyton hated it, but it didn't really kill them. I mean, he did throw the ball out of bounds, and none of those running backwards plays hurt the Jets at all.
Well, they couldn't keep drives alive. I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was either run backwards or get sacked on that spot.
Yeah. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Well, there you go. You got the meltdown. This is going to be interesting. I don't know if you should be consoling me or I should be consoling you, Samter. I think I know I should be consoling Samter because you lost Aaron Rodgers, but you're no longer a Jets fan, so I don't know. As of 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, go Chiefs. Let's go.
Go Chiefs. 855-212-4CBS. All right, we've got options for the Jets. Perloff and I have our short list here. We've already sent it to Joe Douglas, so don't worry. You can take our advice. We'll tell you who should be playing quarterback for the Jets, and we see you guys on the phones. We'll get to your calls. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff, where we are on very, very different pages about the prognosis for the Jets and the prognosis for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I can't believe you think the Jets are going to find a way to make this a Super Bowl run. Not a Super Bowl. Sorry, like a real, legitimate playoff team who competes in a playoff game.
I still think they're going to be a formidable team because they've got the good formula, which is they have a great defense, they've got playmakers and on offense, and they have an ability to run the ball. I mean, you just need a competent quarterback. You don't need MVP level Aaron Rodgers for this experiment to work. I think that's why people were so high on the Jets. It's that because if Rodgers played 70% of his MVP self, he would have been perfect.
Give me some names. Who do you like?
We'll get to the phones in a second at 855-212-4CBS. The first call you have to make is to Brady. You got to let him turn you down, right? It would be a massive middle finger to the Patriots, who literally just honored him on Sunday and have all these plans to put him in the Hall of Fame. Patriots and Jets have a big rivalry. Belichick obviously hates the Jets. It'd be a major middle finger, but I need to hear Tom Brady tell me no if I'm Joe Douglas. And then once
if I'm Tom Brady, I run as fast as I humanly can. I'm going to go play for Nathaniel Hackett mid-season with that offensive line and let that be my defining legacy.
Okay.
That's a tough spot for Tom Brady.
And then my three other names that I would be intrigued by. Cousins, but it's going to be hard because you're going to have to probably give up an asset for him. Why it would work out is Cousins is in the last year of his deal, and you still have money committed to Aaron Rodgers after this season. So I need something that's just sort of a Band-Aid, and Cousins still gives me a high ceiling. I just don't know if Minnesota's at all interested.
Well, Cousins is a free agent after the year, right? So the thing about Cousins is he kind of needs support around him, too. He needs a good offensive line. He needs a system that he knows really well. Obviously, him and Diggs he's on the Jets. But, I don't know. It just feels like probably the worst idea ever.
Well, these are the high ceiling guys.
Cousins, he has no athleticism. Like, he's going to get killed there. He's going to get mauled.
All I need is someone to distribute the ball and get it in Garrett Wilson's hands, or drop it off and hand it off to Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook.
You said formidable playoff team. Yeah, Cousins is not winning a playoff game anywhere.
If it's during the day, maybe he's out of shot. Gardner Minshew, backup Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis probably wants to hold on to him because Richardson already got hurt in week 1. But yeah.
But this is like the Colts aren't expected to do anything, and they might want the asset.
I don't know. Minshew came in for a couple games for the Eagles last year and lost both. I don't know if that's an upgrade from Zach Wilson.
Okay, you just keep. I'm hearing a lot of no's from you, and I think Jacoby Brissett could be good with this team. Back up in Washington.
I don't see why Washington would do that.
Well, because like right now they name Howell the starter, and
Howell did not look good.
He didn't look great, but are they going to pull him after 1 week? I don't think so.
No, but I mean, I think they have a really good defense. They're going to look at the season and say, well, we're definitely going to keep Brissett around.
Okay,
Unless you offer, well, I would definitely not. All the guys you're talking about are pretty good draft picks. If I'm the Jets, I'm looking forward. I'm not giving up any draft assets, and I'm getting one of these free agents. I'm fine with Nick Foles, who Joe Douglas was part of with Philly. I'm totally fine with Carson Wentz. Here's one thing Zach Wilson does not do.
Carson Wentz.
One thing Zach Wilson did not do great last night. Like, he's not a great scrambler. Like, he's got to run forward and get some first downs. There are a couple plays where a more athletic quarterback would have gotten the first down. So Wentz can run. I'll give him, I mean, maybe a little less when he's older. I don't know. Any of these guys. By the way, like, you're talking about Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett. Like, you have to give up a pretty good draft pick to get a guy like that. I feel like, and if you're going to give up a draft pick, it's got to be Jameis, right?
Jameis would also be another person that I would definitely be calling the New Orleans Saints about, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm spreading the blanket out, really, the net out really wide.
But
here.
any of those guys, like, what's the point? Like, where are you going?
Well,
I'm with Sam there. Like, why be a Jets fan if
a
any
better
of the
place than where Zach Wilson is getting you? Did you not see how talented the rest of the team is? You're going to waste this year?
What was so talented? Yes, I mean, they're basically the same team as last year.
Okay, so you guys are telling me that the Bills are great, right? And they're going to be fine.
Good.
Okay, but then on the other side of your mouth, you're saying, well, what did the Jets really do well last night? They shut down the Bills, is what they did. They beat the Bills with their backup quarterback, is what they did.
They sort of shut them down. I mean, they kind of Josh Allen shut them down.
No, I mean, the Bills beat themselves.
But I think the offensive line in New York is a little bit of a worry. Breece Hall is coming off injury. It looked great against the Bills. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again.
I told you guys the Bills have had no run defense since I was a child.
And also the Bills did not really, which is funny because their coach is defensive, they did not adjust. They didn't have a new game plan when Zach Wilson was in there. They clearly should have crept up the entire team.
Of course.
But they're
just not smart.
What happened with McDermott last night? He just didn't seem to take advantage.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I have no idea. 855-212-4CBS. So you say Wentz. That's your number one?
No, I'd say Foles is my number one. I'm not trading anything. Foles, Wentz. Who are the other free agents? Sorry, I don't go with the old guys because you need somebody who's a little more mobile. Like Ryan and Rivers will get killed.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers is the other one.
I mean, if I could have anybody, yeah, of course I'm reaching out to Tom Brady, but that's not going to happen.
Jay is in Alabama, our friend. Hey, Jay, how you doing, dude?
I hate to call in 2 days in a row, but after last night, I couldn't help myself. And you know what? Perloff would bring up Wentz.
I know.
Come on, man. Let that die, bro.
With the Carson's corner and all that crap. We already went through this. We destroyed the poster with Carson Wentz's face on it. He can't be starting for the Jets now.
I mean, you want to bring like Heartbreak City to the Jets fans even more. You're making it even worse, even bringing up Wentz. Like, for real. It'd be
the least likable quarterback room ever. Like, the Jets themselves despise Zach Wilson last year, and the last two locker rooms haven't liked Carson Wentz.
Sorry, there's one more name, Jay, and you'll like this one too. So the odds, the leader is Nick Foles. Second is Colt McCoy. These are the Vegas odds from BetOnline. Second is Colt McCoy. How about Taysom Hill is third in odds? Bring in Taysom Hill and run an H-back/quarterback.
So you're going to trade for Taysom Hill?
Yes, trade for Taysom Hill. Yeah, let's do Taysom Hill.
No.
Come on.
No.
You just said that you wanted a guy to play point guard. How about a guy who is your second best running back, your fourth best wide receiver, and your second best quarterback? He could do it all.
Might as well just bring back Tebow.
Oh, man. You might as well bring Colin Kaepernick out of the retirement or whatever, man. Come on, no. I think Colt McCoy would probably be your best bet.
Yeah.
But
I'd rather have a guy who can run. Why are you going to bring Colt McCoy to this team? You need a guy who can run. You want to do the San Francisco formula. San Francisco looked at their team and said, if we had a running quarterback, we'd be set.
I don't know. But, like, last night, I don't know if that was like instant karma from all the freaking drama of the off season, or I don't know, or I don't know if it's the football guys looked down was like, look, no more of these 40-year-old quarterbacks. We're going to stop this right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
the football gods are being preventative. They're just like, we can't do this anymore. These guys have to start retiring in their 30s like they usually do.
Yeah, like they supposed to, like natural law, like natural order of things. But I saw that happen last night. First person I thought of, like, surprisingly, was Mike Greenberg over at ESPN. I was like, I know he's going to be on a rant in the morning. And then I saw the loss in the interceptions. I thought of you, Maggie, and I was just like, dude, like, it doesn't matter who won. Like, both fan bases is, like, looking at this whole thing. And Perloff, stop trying to, like, rationalize the whole thing. Last night was weird.
It's Jay, it's week one.
Last night was a big old voodoo spell. Like,
it's week one.
It's funny,
Don't
Jay,
overreact.
Thank you so much for the phone call. I always just assume MetLife Stadium must have been built on some kind of like Indian burial ground or something. I mean, there's no other.
Did you notice that the guy returned the punt to the same corner of the end zone where Deshaun Jackson returned it for the Eagles back in 2010?
Always got to be about the Eagles.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, Anthony is in Myrtle Beach. Anthony, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are we?
Well, could be better. What's on your mind?
Girl, you were hostile. I could feel the energy through the phone.
You're lucky you weren't at my house last night. I was like going out of my mind. I almost woke my kid up.
Listen, I think, Andrew, you're the man. You're the mediator. You're keeping the peace. I love it, and I appreciate it. I don't think Zach's going anywhere. Why should he? Right now he's walking around with his chest out, talking about, I just knocked off the third team in the NFL, top dog. He's living it up right now. This is, the second time they beat the Bills? Once last year, too, I think, right?
Yeah, he beat the Bills last year. I mean, Josh Allen took like 8 sacks in that game, but yeah.
He's walking with his chest out. He's 2-0 against Buffalo. He ain't got even.
Okay, but Anthony, here's the thing though about it. Here's the thing about Zach Wilson. Thank you for the phone call. How long does that last? His own team was wearing T-shirts last year that said Mike Bleepin' White on it. They love the backup. They didn't like Zach Wilson. They didn't like what he did on the field. They didn't like what he did off the field. So has that totally been solved and paper-mache'd over in 2 months? Yeah, but
Zach Wilson's Aaron Rodgers adjacent, and they all loved Aaron Rodgers. So I think Aaron Rodgers was like, you're in a new high school and you befriend the cool kid, then you become cool by associative property. He's fine.
Mark in Ohio's got an idea for the Jets. Hey, Mark.
All right, first of all, who was calling the plays for the Jets? Because I saw Breece Hall go off for a run, and then I saw 3 pass plays with Aaron Rodgers running for his life.
That's Nathaniel Hackett, baby.
And then I would love, you know how you're a fan and you can see, like, all of their mistakes? Yeah. I would love for you to take my team's mistake away from me to fix yours. Take Mitch Trubisky and his giant paycheck and rid us of this disaster, because Mason Rudolph could throw the ball 60 yards down the field. So I'd much rather have him as our backup.
Interesting, Mark. Trubisky. Oof.
Trubisky can move a little bit. It's not bad.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, it might not be the worst idea. Thank you so much for the call. Keep them coming, guys. We need to give some ideas here for the New York Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. I like thinking outside the box a little bit. I don't, obviously, I think Tom Brady has no chance here. Did you see the video of Tom Brady today?
I did.
Hitting jump shots with his son.
Milky jumper.
I cannot believe I've never had more respect for Tom Brady athletically in my entire life. I put up a little poll: who's going to win more games, the Buffalo Bills or the New York Jets? It's really close. I could save the results if you want, or I could just
90-10?
No, 89-11.
Yeah.
Also, too, the Super Bowl Bills odds are really sticky. They will not move.
Vegas has loved the Bills like they love the Brooklyn Nets.
Bills are 5th in the entire league in Super Bowl odds, and the Jets are 17th. Bills minus 200 to make the playoffs. Jets plus 215, which is actually that's a pretty good bet. I like that one.
Yeah, Jets to make the playoffs at plus 215.
Yeah,
that's good. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to you, we promised, coming up. How did Jerry Jones make his way into this story? Of course he did.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
he's Jerry Jones.
If it's a day that ends in Y, it's somehow Jerry Jones inserting himself into this Aaron Rodgers situation with the Jets. We'll get to what Jerry had to say. We do that all after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. Head coach Robert Saleh meeting the media and said they're going to roll with Zach Wilson. However, they will look to bring in another quarterback at some point after the Jets had to pivot quickly. After all the buildup and excitement, Aaron Rodgers' season lasted only one series and a total of 4 plays. Rodgers was seemingly having the time of his life in his new home, but MRIs today confirmed the 4-time MVP suffered a torn Achilles last night, ending his season. So roughly 5 minutes into the first quarter, the Jets' season was drastically changed. Deontay Johnson of the Steelers will miss at least the next couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. The Mets have reportedly hired David Stearns as their new president of baseball operations. The 38-year-old New York native had been with the Brewers between 2015 and 2022, serving as a consultant this year. Right now, bottom of the 7th at Fenway, Yankees lead the Red Sox 3-2. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. So Maggie thinks she knows it.
Oh, it's got to be Jordan Whitehead last night. He had 3 interceptions of Josh Allen that kicked in a $250,000 clause in his contract.
Yeah, but 2 of those were basically punts. So I think you could make arguments for lots of players. I think Aaron Donald took an early lead in Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I think T.J. Watt's going to break the sack record. So
Myles Garrett had a good game.
Myles Garrett had a nice play or two. I mean, I guess Whitehead would make sense, but I don't think, like, Defensive Player of the Year is going to be a vicious race. And Micah Parsons
was
almost
amazing.
murdered a man. So go ahead, Stu. Is it Whitehead?
Who was it, Stu?
It is not Whitehead. I did consider him, but I figured we'd be talking about that game a lot, so we'll try to go in a different direction. I went with Jags pass rusher Josh Allen.
The other Josh Allen.
Yep. He had 3 sacks in Jacksonville's 31-21 win over the Colts, including 10 tackles. Also included other nominees. Drake Jackson of the Niners had, I believe, 2 or 3 sacks himself. Jesse Bates of the Falcons had 2 interceptions. So there are other nominees for sure. A lot of good options this week.
The Niners, by the way, they have so many defensive starters. Wait, real quick before we take the calls.
Yeah.
3 ideas that people will hate more than any other ideas for the Jets quarterback.
Okay, so these are the 3 quarterbacks they should definitely not bring in.
I'm not saying they should definitely do it, but it will create such a negative media firestorm. All 3 of them would basically break the internet. They would be so unpopular.
Okay, you want to rank them?
Yeah. My number 3, Carson Wentz.
Wait, do you want like a drum roll or something?
No, I'll just tell you. These aren't even drum roll worthy. Yeah, give me a drum roll.
So Carson Wentz, you've already said it.
Yeah. That was I just noted. I said it last night, and people were like, "Oh my God, this would be worse than Aaron Rodgers getting hurt." Bringing in Carson Wentz. Number 2, who I saw is at the bottom of the odds from BetOnline.ag. Tim Tebow is plus 1,500. If they brought in Tebow,
yeah,
that would be bad.
Lose it.
But I'll tell you who the number 1 worst idea. And I saw him at the bottom of the odds as well. If they traded for Nathaniel Hackett's quarterback from last year, Russell Wilson, and took the financial headache off the Broncos. Because Hackett, Wilson. By the way,
they even be in the same room together? Would they have a relationship anymore?
I don't know. Well, he knows Hackett's offense. The Broncos are desperate to get rid of that contract, so the Jets could say, "Would Russell Wilson be an upgrade over Zach Wilson?"
Definitely, without a doubt.
But I think the Jets would not do it. There's no way they're going to pay Russell Wilson.
Well, that's a problem. That would be a cap problem. And again, they already have money that's earmarked for Rodgers for next season. So what do you do with
Would you take Russell Wilson and all that money?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No.
Samter's no longer a Jets fan.
You can't bring
Hackett and Russell.
Do that.
Would I take him? I don't care. I mean, over Patrick Mahomes, no way.
Yeah, I know. Samter's now a diehard Chiefs fan as of 5 minutes ago.
I mean, honestly, Hackett and Russell Wilson reunited would be the funniest thing that ever happened. Make it happen, Maggie.
I can't.
I got a bone to pick with both you guys. You were ripping Kadarius Toney all day on Monday. I don't like that. As a Chiefs fan, I have to defend my guy.
Sure.
Let's go, Kadarius Toney.
Meanwhile, I offered to pay up on our bet today of who I was going to buy Samter lunch because the Jets beat the Bills last night, even though he didn't even watch the game after Rodgers got hurt. What kind of fan are you? Anyway,
Chiefs.
I said, all right, what do you want for lunch? He's like, I can't eat. I'm sick to my stomach.
I think you have a bad radar, by the way. You're picking the Chiefs on they're 0-1. The Jets have a better record. You know Mahomes. Mahomes is flirting with an injury every single quarter of every single game he plays. I don't want you.
I'm thinking long term, 10 years, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah, right. Let's go back to the phones. Adrian's in Maryland. Adrian, how are you, dude?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call again. Good afternoon. Hey, I got two things. Just hear me out here, okay? As far as the Jets, Maggie, they're not going to make the playoffs. The defense will tire out eventually. And if you look at the stat sheets, Breece Hall, he had 120 yards, and 85 of them came on one play.
Yeah.
So he really didn't run for
Which
a whole
honestly
lot.
should have been a touchdown if Garrett Wilson wasn't celebrating prematurely and actually blocked the guy who was running down Breece Hall. The game would have been even more out of reach.
That's very true. One other thing I got for your Bills.
Yeah.
They need to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hand. So the big trade they need to make is go ahead and get Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I said it to my husband last night. I said to my husband last night, I'm like, this is where I want them to have Jonathan Taylor. But then my husband, who's also a Bills fan, was like, but they never commit to the run. It would be such a waste of resources. And Adrian, that's where it's so frustrating for Bills fan is because Josh Allen, it's like you can't take the ball out of his hands because he has the ability to be magical. It's just the boneheaded, stupid stuff that looks like he's back to his rookie year or second year in the league. That stuff's got to stop.
Oh, definitely. I think the thing about running, you could sign Jonathan Taylor, but if your system's not set up to block well for the run, and Taylor last year when the line got injuries was terrible. I mean, he went from 5.5 yards in 2021 to 4.5 because all the all-pro guards and tackles got hurt. He's not going to run there. They are not going to get him.
Also, I don't want to pay him.
James Cook
was fine.
I mean, remember that one play where he made the first down? I could hear you panicking all the way from New Jersey when he had to run all the way around the line.
I was full panic last night for most of the game. I just wanted that game to end so badly. Brian is in Oregon's got an idea on who can replace Zach Wilson and step in for the Jets. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hello, thanks for taking the call.
You got it.
What about, I know he's old, but don't laugh, Fitzmagic.
Is scheduled to appear on the show on Friday, so we'll see if he actually makes it to the show or if he's suiting up for the Jets. Now, the last time Ryan Fitzpatrick actually appeared in a football game and threw a pass was September 12th, so we're coming up on the anniversary, 2021. So that would have been today, literally today. What am I going to say? Coming up on the anniversary. Come on, Maggie, know the date.
He was on the Manningcast last night, and I got to tell you, he expressed no interest in joining the Jets.
He went 3 for 5 that day.
He looked way out of shape last night, and he did not say once, I'm interested in this. Compared to like RG3, who went on ESPN this morning and said they should call him. Fitzpatrick, he's done. He's got too many kids.
Didn't stop Phil Rivers, which I wonder, after we found out that San Francisco had reached out to Rivers last year. Phil's in Pennsylvania. Phil, what do you got?
Hey, Maggie. Hey, Pearl. I think people need to start drawing parallels between Dak Prescott and now Josh Allen is the new Dak Prescott of the AFC. I mean, they're both really talented quarterbacks, win a lot of regular season games, meager playoff, success.
Well, hold on. Josh Allen has double the playoff wins as Dak Prescott. 4.
Well, they only win like one game per playoff session, and that's about, as far as his mistakes will take him, just like Dak Prescott. I mean, they are really good, but sometimes they just have, head-in-hand moments like, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah.
So I just kind of think that Josh Allen is kind of earning the reputation of being the Dak Prescott of the AFC. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Josh Allen is the Dak Prescott of the AFC.
I think that's a little unfair because
I think Josh is better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert, you wouldn't put him in there because he hasn't made the playoffs to disappoint in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson.
No, Justin Herbert did make the playoffs. And they blew a 24-point lead.
Right, but he's so young. And what's he got? Lamar Jackson. Are you going to say he's the same thing? So not everybody's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I do think Like, if you're trying to diss on either of these guys, yeah, I mean, it's hard to win in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson's just as bad as record as these guys, right?
Yeah,
He's 2-4 as well, I think.
Listen, Josh Allen is 4-4 in the playoffs. It's not an abysmal record.
No, he's not a choker or anything like that.
It should be better record. That 13 seconds game was not his fault. That's like the best game you can play. And, it's just felt different ever since then.
He made some nice throws last night, especially that last drive.
Yeah.
How come there's never an easy Bills play? Like, just I don't know, drop back, throw to a guy who's open. Like, why does that
Have
never
we
happen?
met? This is why I lose my mind every week.
There's got to be an easier play in the playbook than everything they do.
Then maybe Josh Allen hurdling a defender in the second quarter to try to get a 2nd and 7.
Throwing a rocket 23 yards downfield, like Diggs scrapes off the field for a first down. It just feels very hard.
Oh, man. All right, the big question. We see you guys on the phones, but will Aaron Rodgers ever play again? Now with a torn Achilles and about to turn 40 years old. We'll get to that. We'll get to what Jerry Jones had to say about the whole thing. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I think the whole industry and everybody who says that they're good at tasting wine is lying. I think it's the biggest mass lie.
It's all perpetrated by big wine?
In the history of mankind, there's no bigger lie than people can tell which wine is good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I love people who are like, I'm just tasting it and spitting out and like, I'm not here to get loaded. Get out of here.
Wineries are the scenes of so many crimes.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
get sloppy at wineries.
We were
like
at a
dress over your head type stuff. Once my husband and I, we were still dating, went to wine country, but took bikes.
I just had this image of you following your husband on a bike, just veering off slowly into the ride, tipping over, and just like, Maggie's asleep on the sidewalk.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, welcome into the show. It is a totally torn Achilles for Aaron Rodgers, Perloff. It is one of the most disappointing moments in the history of the NFL, whether you're rooting for the Jets or against the Jets. The fact that this never got off the ground, no pun intended. The fact we never got to see what Rodgers could have done with all this massive hype. I mean, it's like someone just took the air out of the room of the season.
So I saw Adam Schefter tweet, this is the most disappointing thing to happen in NFL history or something.
No.
That seems like a reaction in the moment, and also because of the Jets preseason. I mean, I think blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, there's
pretty
a lot.
Bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of more disappointing things. I do think that the problem was that the hype got so big in New York. The expectations were so high. Were they too high? Because he is an older quarterback. That's all I'm saying. It was like there wasn't enough, maybe he's old, he could be vulnerable to injury. Nobody was really saying that.
No, and he even strained his calf like earlier on the offseason. We kind of were like, no, it's fine. It's Rodgers. Right. I think we wanted to believe. I mean, listen, this was Robert Saleh is speaking to the media now. He did not blame the MetLife turf, the turf at the stadium. He said this wasn't a non-contact injury. So they do believe that, this was Leonard Floyd coming around the edge, taking Aaron Rodgers down. That's what did this. But was the hype too high?
His foot was stuck in that turf. I
think the hype was appropriate. I mean, it's a four-time MVP switching teams to a team that obviously has talent. I think that the hype was right where it needed to be.
I don't think so. I think if it was the same team and it wasn't in New York and didn't have these big celebrity media fans, I think they were at 9.5 wins. I mean, listen, Vegas didn't think that they were like the best team in the NFL. I think they were realistic, but the hype just got a little out of control because there was so much media coverage. Rodgers had so many mics in front of him that it all created this buzz that probably got away from reality. That's
it's not
my
just
opinion.
About celebrity Jets fans. I mean, Justin Timberlake was there last night. He's not a celebrity Jets fan.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, Mike Greenberg kind of running ESPN.
Well, whatever.
And
I mean,
stuff like I think it makes a difference. I do think there was a lot of buzz around him. That he's on McAfee every week, and McAfee is so popular. I just think Aaron Rodgers is very visible, that the expectations probably did get a little too crazy.
Listen, I think that if the same thing had happened with Tom Brady when he got to the Bucs,
I don't think so. There
was a lot of anticipation about what he'd be like outside of New England. Was it Brady or Belichick?
You really think the hype for the Bucs? Well, it was during the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic. Things were
But
wacky.
I don't think it was a third of what it was this summer. I really don't think people were like, I don't remember when of course the Bucs are going to win the Super Bowl. That was a bit of a sneaky one, too.
But the reality is the hype and the expectations from what we saw last night was legit. Like, if Rodgers stays healthy...
They win that game by 2 scores,
and
by the way.
win that
get
game
out of here. We have no idea.
The defense is as good as we thought it would be. The run game is dominant. And Garrett Wilson is
amazing,
a top 5 receiver in the NFL. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, he doesn't have to be MVP Aaron Rodgers, but if he's just a tick below that, if he's just a little bit below that, and he's healthy, that is maybe the best team in the AFC.
Wait a minute. I thought
the hype was real.
I thought that you are no longer a Jets fan. You
I'm
turned
not a Jets
into
fan.
your
I'm
Jets
speaking
card.
objectively as a sports media personality.
Yeah.
You really
go back to the Chiefs bandwagon now.
Let's go. Come on.
Let's hear from Robert.
You think they were the favorite in the AFC with Aaron Rodgers?
After what I saw last night, if Rodgers stays healthy for the season, that's probably the best team in the AFC.
First of all, he played 4 plays, right?
Yeah.
Did any of those 4 plays not look like he was a sitting duck behind that line?
Yeah,
There was a single one of them not look troublesome?
I think that was also the first drive of the season. I mean, I can't say that it would have continued through the night, but no, the Bills were getting home on the pass rush.
And you're saying one game where obviously you don't think the Bills obviously would have played differently if Aaron Rodgers was still in the field. We have no idea how that game would have gone. The Bills might have actually played like they wanted to win the football game to start.
I don't know. I don't think anything was saving Josh Allen last night. Let's hear from Robert Saleh today, just moments ago, talking about the Jet season.
I don't know why people are trying to put an obituary onto our team name. It's Aaron is an unbelievable piece to this whole thing, and we love him. But I think there's 52 other guys in the locker room, plus the 16 practice squad guys that believe that we can do a hell of a lot of good things here.
Well, I mean, easy to say now, but you just spent the entire offseason basically just shaping the team in the mold of Aaron Rodgers. Now he's gone down, so now it's not about Aaron Rodgers. Saleh also went on to say that the Jets are pursuing backup quarterbacks, but, quote, we're going to look at everything. Under no circumstances is this a competition. This is Zach Wilson's team. That is, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a lie.
Oh, I don't know. If Wilson plays like he did last night, that's fine, right?
You don't think they're bringing in somebody to compete with him?
No. Who?
Well, we're going to have to find out.
If you bring in an available free agent, Nick Foles is not. They're not going to want Nick Foles to beat out Zach Wilson. They're going to hope that Zach Wilson does the job.
No, but if you do make a trade for like Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew or one of his other names.
Gardner Minshew can't earn the starting job over a rookie, and Jacoby Brissett can't earn the job over Sam Howell.
Those two instances were not true competitions. Anthony Richardson was playing from week 1. The owner said as much. Yeah. And I think that the Washington Commanders got Sam Howell on the brain, and they were not going to be moved off.
Jacoby Brissett's not winning jobs anywhere. I mean, how many teams has he played on the last 3 years?
He looked better than Deshaun Watson last year.
As a Jets fan, someone who might have been or is a Jets fan, I would imagine they would say Gardner Minshew would be a great option for the Jets. Since I'm not a Jets fan, I don't care.
Yeah,
but
I know. As of 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Well, as of 12 hours ago.
I don't know. You guys might be seeing more in Gardner Minshew than I am. He lost both starts he had with the Eagles last year, and he came in at the very end of the Jags game and basically saved my cover on that game because he had 2 lousy plays that didn't score from the 1-yard line. I don't know. These guys would be starting if they were.
When he came in for the Eagles last year, though, didn't the Eagles already basically have the division wrapped up?
No.
I thought so.
No, I mean, I think
what
Hurts
was your
came
record
back.
at that point? Like 9-1.
They're 14-1, and then they lost 2 games, so Hurts had to come back in Week 18 to wrap everything up.
But they were still 14-1.
Right, but if he'd won a game, they would not have had to bring Hurts back. They didn't want to bring Hurts back.
Okay, but
and then Minshew went 0 for 2, and they got rid of him. They brought in Marcus Mariota. There's a reason all these people who are available on this market are available.
But that's why you got to make the call to Tom Brady. You got to let him say no to you. I don't know if you make the call to Phillip Rivers. I know the 49ers, that was the story last year that they had called Phillip Rivers. The story never made sense to me because if they were going to the Super Bowl, wouldn't they have had a competent quarterback already?
I don't even remember that story. I remember Phillip Rivers calling teams and saying, I'm ready. What team was that?
That the 49ers had called Phillip Rivers, say if we went to the Super Bowl, they would have put him on the team.
Didn't Phillip Rivers call someone and say, I want to play, I'm ready to go?
I have no idea. Apparently, Colin Kaepernick's agent did call the Jets today to tell them that Colin Kaepernick is available.
Rivers last year contacted the Dolphins and the 49ers and said he was ready to play. And they didn't call. I mean, come on. That would be so sad to see Rivers or Matt Ryan there. I mean, go with Zach Wilson and bring in a backup and try your hardest. That's what I say.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, I don't think I'd do.
Ryan's 3.5 years younger than Rivers.
I know, and he's already in the broadcast booth. I'm watching him with Tiki Barber last week.
Let's just go down the hallway, ask Tiki, get his broadcast partner out of the booth.
Yeah.
Tell him to get his butt on the Jets sideline.
It's good. Be a little more airtime for
fans.
Tiki. Yeah, for those Jets fans, not Mike Samter. 855-212-4CBS. Man, I can't believe you jumped off the bandwagon. 855-212-4227. Kevin is in Oregon's got an idea. Kevin, what's up, dude?
Well, the Jets need a mobile quarterback, and since Fran Tarkenton isn't available, I'm thinking Trey Lance might be. I mean, it's a flyer, but what the heck? The guy potentially could be, their starting quarterback for a long time. Why not?
Because he's on a roster. The Cowboys just gave up 4th-round pick for him. So why would the Cowboys give him up for nothing?
Well,
now?
if you could flip him for a third or a second, if the Jets, depending how desperate they are, I don't know. I don't know how much work they did on Trey Lance because well, you know what? They probably did because Zach Wilson's in that same draft. So I'm assuming they were probably doing work on all those quarterbacks.
He's a third-string quarterback. I mean, they can certainly let him go if they can get something decent for him.
But the Jets can't give up a 2nd-round pick. That's a high pick.
No, I get it.
For Trey Lance right now.
Listen, here's what the Jets have to be thinking. Kevin, thank you for the call. They got to be thinking, we don't want to waste the season. If they're thinking that, we don't want the season to be a waste and not have done everything we possibly can to try to get an upgrade from Zach Wilson, then you spend draft capital to try to save the season.
Why?
I don't know if Trey Lance saves your season.
Why? I think you're building a team here if you're the Jets. You had Rookie of the Year on both sides of the ball last year. You have a 23-year-old Sauce, a 23-year-old Garrett Wilson. I'm holding on to those draft picks, and I'm building a legit, really good team. Also, you got to hold on for a quarterback. You cannot risk that 1st-round pick that you got back. Because
you're not going to give away the 1st-round pick.
I would not give up. A 2nd-round pick is really valuable in the NFL. If I'm the Jets, I'm looking at the next 10 years. I'm not selling out for this season.
I don't know. I mean, this is your all-in season. You think Alan Lazard and Dalvin Cook are signing with you if you didn't think that this was a chance to win, although Dalvin Cook really...
Washed and washed.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, listen, how long was Dalvin Cook out there begging to get signed? And Alan Lazard? Come on.
I think Alan Lazard would have had a lot more suitors. I think he obviously went there because of Rodgers. But let's get to Jerry Jones because the Cowboys owner always finds himself in the middle of every single story. So here was Jerry Jones, and he was on the Sean and RJ 105.3 The Fan in Dallas on his weekly appearance. Would they trade a quarterback to the Jets?
I can't imagine what it would be, but the facts are that just as they do, we can need Rush in a play. And did last year and did the year before. And so, boy, you've got to, especially when you got all the promise we got, to compromise yourself with depth at that position wouldn't be very unlikely.
Jerry's sounding very, very smart there. Why would you trade Cooper Rush? I can't imagine they'd ever do that because if something ever happened to Prescott, Rush is a great high-end backup. And we went 4-1 with him last year. Yeah. And Trey Lance just got in the building. I can't see the Jets being that high on him. Again, they probably did work on him because they were definitely in the market for a quarterback in that draft. They took Wilson.
I mean, once again, one of those guys is going to learn the offense. Cooper Rush knows nothing but the Cowboys offense. Maybe it's actually probably be similar to Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hackett must have been with McCarthy at some point. Yeah, I don't know. Cooper Rush would get you excited. Like, ooh, the Jets have Cooper Rush. That feels a lot like an Andy Dalton or
what about Andy?
Nick Foles.
Have you reached out to Andy?
I don't want my two guys, Case Keenum and Andy Dalton, to go there.
Why?
I worry about that offensive coordinator.
Well, of course, but right now Case and Andy aren't playing. Like, they'd rather play, I'm sure.
They would, and I know Case loves New York. It's where he's wanted to come here for a while. He almost went to the Giants at one point. But I fear Hackett is cursed. That's never crossed you guys' mind?
I mean, he was the offensive coordinator for 2 of Aaron Rodgers' MVPs. Listen, he was terrible when he was the offensive coordinator of the Bills, but the Bills weren't a very good team then.
He made a deal with the devil to get the head coaching job, and it just feels like this is a position where the expectations are going to be out of control. I mean, absolutely bananas out of control, and it's almost a no-win situation for the next quarterback.
Well, how many people did make a deal with the devil with the Jets? We had Joe Namath made a deal with the devil. Yeah. I'm assuming Woody Johnson probably did at some point. The chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Chat's in full effect. Laura in the chat came up with 2. She also said Trey Lance. She said Cam Newton. Craig said Marcus Mariota. What about trading for the Eagles backup?
See, they can have him. He did not look good in the preseason. I like that Cam Newton.
But is Cam done?
Of course.
Yeah, Cam's done.
That's why he's not on the team.
Over.
But how old do you think Cam's another guy? We call it the Legion of Boom phenomenon, who's probably a lot younger than you think.
Yeah, the Legion of Boom phenomenon is all those guys from the Legion of Boom are way younger than you think.
Yeah, they're all like
Richard Sherman's like 34.
Yeah, Cam Chance, they're all in their young 30s. Cam Newton, we need an age on him.
Let's go to Bob's in Myrtle Beach. Bob's got an idea. What do you got for us, Bob?
If you're thinking outside the box and calling free agents, why not call Drew Brees just to gauge his interest? I mean, why not? I mean, the worst he can say is no, but good God, look what he would bring in.
That's cruel and unusual punishment. Put a 42-year-old quarterback with that line. And listen, it didn't work with a 39-year-old quarterback. You put Brees out there on that turf?
I think it might.
Poor guy.
It might not work for him. I'm just trying to see exactly. January 3rd, 2021 was the last time that Brees took a snap.
All right, Cam.
Listen, if you're talking about Phillip Rivers, I get where Bob's
yeah, it's not a bad
from.
idea. But Cam Newton's 34.
Yeah, these guys are younger than we think.
I mean,
Cam is like 34, but his body has been through so much because of how he played physically.
I don't know. That doesn't seem to be a problem with him. It seems that he hasn't found an offense that suits him at all.
Let's go. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he was okay that 1 year with the Patriots, right? I mean, any of these guys, just get a guy who could run for a first down. What is it? Why is this so hard? Get Taysom Hill, Maggie. Sign him.
Taysom Hill. I think that you need the point guard. You need the Brock Purdy point guard, and you have enough playmakers and a good enough defense. Big Dave's in Kentucky. Dave, what do you think? Jerry said that none of the Cowboys' backups are available.
BS. I'm calling my shot. Cooper Rush of the Jets. Jerry's got a brand new shiny thing to play with, and Trey Lance. And I mean, we're going to get he'll suck probably I don't know, second or third round draft pick out of this. I'm calling my shot right now. Would you agree that Cooper Rush is the best backup in the NFL?
No.
He's a super high end backup.
Well, how does anyone know Cooper Rush? We've never seen him really. I don't know.
He played 5 games last year. He did great.
So you're saying, like, how much does Cooper Rush get paid? Is he the highest paid backup in the league, Dave?
That's not what you base on someone being the best out of.
I mean the market doesn't value him as the best, obviously. I bet he's not even the top 5.
Okay, McLovin. Who's the best? Give me a better backup than Cooper Rush.
Andrew James Dalton.
You just said you don't want Dalton coming to the Jets.
Andy Dalton started last year for the Saints, had a 98 rating.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you serious?
Yeah, Andy Dalton's definitely better than Cooper Rush. Get out of here. If I put up a ball right now, who's better, Andy Dalton or Cooper Rush? Who do you think's going to win?
Cooper
Rush has played. Once they got tape on Cooper Rush, the Eagles ate him for lunch last year.
I'm going to be honest, though. Who won more games as the starter with the Cowboys, Dalton or Rush?
Oh, my. Andy Dalton. I'm done with this conversation.
So, wait. Cooper Rush wins. You know how backup.
Dave hung up.
You know how backups work. Once you get tape on them, they completely fall apart. Yeah. Cooper Rush, you think the league is clamoring for Cooper Rush? He's the best backup in the league? I don't know. I've never heard of another team making any overtures towards Cooper Rush.
Ironically, Mike White really could have stepped in this position. Now he's the backup in Miami to Tua, but he really could have stepped in at this point and really helped them.
Mike White of 7 touchdowns and 11 interceptions last year.
Listen, he usually when he's getting called into the game, it's because it's not for a great reason. I still think Jacoby Brissett, you can win games with Brissett.
Then why is he jumping around the league in backup roles?
Well, just because sometimes you're a backup, and that doesn't mean you can't win games. Back in the day, backups used to be good quarterbacks. Now it's like, there's this huge drop-off between your starter and your backup.
I don't know. I saw that. I saw someone else said that today. That's insane. The level of quarterback play is up 4,000%. Zach Wilson's night last night would have been like the 3rd best outing of 1978.
And I didn't mean to go back to the 70s. I meant more like the 90s.
Who are these backup quarterbacks in the 90s who were so good?
Well, I can tell you what. For my franchise, the backup quarterback is responsible for the greatest comeback in the history of the league. Frank Reich.
Okay, let's look at Frank Reich's stats.
Well, he didn't get to play a lot. That's the whole thing.
Actually, the starters stunk in the 90s.
Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl, again, against my team. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. How did the Mannings react last night when Aaron Rodgers went down? We've got that for you in a moment. Plus, oh, man, how much trouble are the Bills in right now? We'll answer that question. Don't move. You're listening to Maggie and Perloff. If you want to watch, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where to do it. We're still taking your suggestions for who the Jets should bring in, if anybody. Or is there anyone who thinks they should just ride with Zach Wilson? Got a lot more to do. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff, trying to solve this issue here for the New York Jets on who should be their quarterback or maybe backup. Robert Saleh, their head coach, took to the podium today, Perloff, and said, it is Zach Wilson's job. We're not bringing anyone in to compete with him, just someone to back him up. And I think that's probably a lie. But I still think this team, this Jets team, has the bones of a good team. They've got talent at all the places you'd want big talent outside of quarterback from last night. But we've seen teams win with less than A-plus quarterbacks. That can happen in this league.
Like you were talking about the Niners.
I'm talking about the Niners. Last year, one win away from the Super Bowl.
Right. That was her third out of 4 years. They were, 1 year they made the Super Bowl. Yeah. They made 2 straight conference title games. They obviously had a very well-established winning team.
Okay, well, they also got dealt a bad hand when not only Trey Lance goes down, but then Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, and Brock Purdy has to step in. Jets get handed a bad hand. Now,
but the Jets had never won like the Niners had. The Jets were a 7-win team last year and basically have a very similar team to last year.
Okay, well, Robert Saleh comes from that 49ers team. I know that he's not like, they haven't had success with New York yet, but they were a 7-win team last year. That's enough to build on. And I think you have a great defense. You have good skill position players. You have exactly what the 49ers have. The places you're a little bit more deficient, you don't have as good an offensive line, and your head coach is not as good, I would say.
Right. I don't think you have quite the defense. You have Quentin Williams up front, but you don't have a Nick Bosa. I mean, there's only a couple of those in the league.
I know, but they have like what the Eagles had in their Super Bowl year, which is like just dudes who you can bring and rotate in.
Yeah, and the Chiefs just torched that Eagles defense, by the way. A lot of good offense. I mean, I think the Niners defense to me is, when they're healthy, is a level beyond everybody else. Bosa wrecks everything. Now, the Jets, by the way, Buffalo moved the ball a lot last night. They had 4 turnovers and still were basically winning the game. What does that ever happen? Doesn't that point? How many turnovers? It was 3 picks and a fumble.
3 picks and a fumble.
And the Jets only had 1 turnover, and they still had to go to overtime. I mean, obviously the Bills were the better team, in my opinion. They're clearly a more talented team.
They are, but they didn't play like it. They played like a team that was trying to do everything they could, a quarterback who could do everything he could to lose that game. Yeah. He was right to put that all on himself. Let's hear a little Josh Allen, Stu, because yesterday he was right that he's the one who should take the blame here.
Yeah, trying to force the ball. Yeah, same place, different day.
Oh, so who's going to knock this out of him? Like, who's going to get this out of him? Because if it's not the head coach and if it's not the offensive coordinator, who's going to get through to Josh Allen? Like, you've got to play smarter.
Okay, let me ask you a question, though. What if he doesn't play like this, what does the Bills' offense look like?
What do you mean if he doesn't play like what?
Well, if he doesn't make these running plays or...
The running plays I'm actually fine with. I don't like him hurdling defenders in the second quarter of week 1.
And you didn't like the fumble, too.
Well, I didn't like the fumble because you fumble the snap because you're not looking in the right direction. Or the guy snapped it early. Whatever happened, just hold the ball and fall. You don't have to. You're lucky enough that you got the recovered the fumble. Don't pick it up and then run into a line of Jets, like a wall of Jets defenders.
Well, my point is, if he's not trying to run or he's not throwing these ridiculous downfield balls, 3 of which got picked last night. 2 of them were just Hail Marys, basically. It didn't really even matter that much. One of them was 3rd and 8 at his own 30, and they pinned the Jets within the 5. So that actually worked out great. But my point is, all they have are these incredible, ridiculously difficult throws by Josh Allen. That's their whole offense.
Okay, so
it's either Josh Allen runs for it or he threads the needle and gets it to Stephon Diggs 17 yards downfield.
So they actually were starting in the beginning to actually do some more timing plays, and they were using the screen game. Like even Troy Aikman pointed out, he's like, this is not a team that uses the screens. They were trying to do some other things. I don't have a problem with Josh Allen running. Like, he can run when he needs to, like 3rd and 7 when everyone's covered and be stupid to throw. Run for the first down
that jump, that was 3rd and 12 when he jumped the guy. That was a 3rd down. He was trying to make the first down.
But he was so far away from the first down line. Just go out of bounds.
I think when you're, balls to the wall like that with Josh Allen, like you got to go for it. 2 officiating calls that we haven't brought up yet that I want to ask you about. The pass interference on Stephon Diggs, if that had ended up costing them a field goal on the final drive, it was basically...
I wouldn't have come into work.
That was the dumbest call I've seen. They said that Stephon Diggs reached his arms out. Technically, it might have been offensive.
They were both doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was the least blatant offensive pass interference I saw all week.
At that point in the game, too, how dare you call that?
But
I did tell you the Jets were going to get all the calls this year. I thought that was when Rodgers was.
At the end, in the last play, the Jets returned the punt.
Yeah.
And the officiating analyst came on and said there was they didn't call a trip. It was a leg whip. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. If that official had called a leg whip right there, I would have given every fan in the stadium the right to run down and tackle him. There's no way you're taking over a game-winning punt on two guys got their feet tangled. That was the stupidest. Don't tell me you wanted that call.
Wait, so here is the Xavier Gipson game-winning punt return in overtime. I'm not sure who put this on the cut sheet, but let's play it.
Gipson runs under it at the Jet 35. Starts to his left, gets to the 40, turns the corner at the 45-50. Blockers in front at the 40, at the Bills 30, inside the 20. Stutter steps to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! It's a Jet touchdown! This game is over! One of the last players to make the Jet roster out of training camp just took it to the house to win it in overtime for the Jets.
Bob Wischusen on Jets Radio Network with an epic call there. And yes, of course, it was Gipson from Hard Knocks, one of the feel-good stories, and he ends up getting the game winner. I wish that the officiate, that John Perry, who was working for ESPN, I just wish he wouldn't have even said that.
Yeah,
because
it was lame.
I didn't see it.
Nobody saw it.
And I just wish he never said it, because then it planted in my head like, man, they should have called this back maybe. But they were never going to call that back at that moment.
Well, it was at the 20-yard line. The Jets would have gotten the ball at the Bills' 35, maybe.
Yeah, and they would have kicked the field goal.
And Zach Wilson was playing pretty well at that point, so they might have kicked the field goal anyway. In fact, by the way, that punt was the best way to lose, because the Jets were going to, after Ken Dorsey served up 3 crappy offensive play calls on the Bills.
Well, I mean, the
overtime drive.
The right tackle can't do a false start on first down and back you up. It was
all terrible. The Bills looked awful on that drive, but the Jets already had the ball at midfield. They were probably going to hit a field goal. It just felt like the Jets' night at that point. I'm sorry, I don't know why, but
definitely, I'm with you. This is an epic failure by the Bills that they even allowed it to feel like the Jets' night.
Yeah, the fact that they needed a desperate comeback from Josh Allen in the last 2 minutes. That drive looked good. Do that. Put him in the 2-minute drill. You actually said something to that effect earlier.
I know.
If
I
Josh
don't like
Allen
it when he has time to think.
Yeah, there are a lot of quarterbacks like that. Just pretend, hey, Josh, you're running out of time. Go, go, go.
Well, I love that when they do the up-tempo stuff. I love it because you have the personnel to do that.
But on the other hand, you want them to run the ball.
I like a little mix. Yeah, I do like a little mix.
You're not getting either of those, by the way, Meg.
No, I'm not. This is going to be a long season.
Oh, get out of here.
It is.
They're going to be 10-7, go to the playoffs and break your heart again.
Maybe Josh Allen is turning into the new Dak Prescott. That sounds like what we say about the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I don't even really understand what that means. The new Dak Prescott. Like, Dak's been a pretty good quarterback. Dak Prescott just beat Tom Brady 31-7 in the playoffs.
No, Josh Allen has already doubled the playoff wins that Dak Prescott does.
And
but again, it's like Bills going to the playoffs and disappointing. Just it's more not about Dak and Josh, more about the Bills kind of and the Cowboys being in a similar spot. Not many people think that despite the fact they could be a good team, no one really has a lot of faith they're going to win the Super Bowl. Except for me, I picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
And the fact that they were Las Vegas favorites to win the Super Bowl all of last year, and they're pretty high up right now, too. So I think bettors always think the Bills are going to win. Everybody picked the Bills.
I know.
Peter King picked the Bills this year. Nobody, actually, people have faith in the Cowboys, too. It's a year of the quarterback who can't get it done.
I actually took a page out of Perloff's book last night. This is a very Perloff move, and I did it myself, which is when something, if you feel like, if you don't have a good feel for your own team and you feel like it could be a long night or you're in for a disappointment, make a bet that makes money. so at least you
lied?
feel a little better. I bet the under before the game even started. And I was like, I didn't have a good feeling about the game to start. No clue about the Rodgers stuff, obviously. Didn't have a good feeling. Bet the under. Made $9 last night, guys. Look at that.
Well, okay. You're going to report every bet you lose, right? Because if I'm sitting next to Floyd Mayweather, he's going to only tell me about the wins. I'm going to have a major problem.
No, I will report the ones I lose as well. I've got a whopping $40 in the DraftKings account.
You're like Seinfeld, Mrs. Break Even.
I know.
Right? You lose a bet with me, you get the $9 back to buy me lunch tomorrow whenever I have an appetite.
I offered to buy it today. You said you had no appetite.
No, I can't. I could not eat. I couldn't even look at food.
Yet you're not a Jets fan anymore.
No. It's what drove me out of my Jets fandom. Now I feel great. Yeah, now I feel fantastic.
Speaking of food and eating and trying to get through this game, coming up next, one of the all-time backfires that we've seen in sports. I can't tell if these people deserved it. I'm not talking about Jets fans. But an all-time karmic backfire happened as a result of Aaron Rodgers going down last night. We'll get to that. After this CBS Sports Update, here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Well, there's nothing worse than a season-ending injury in Week 1, especially if it is to your franchise quarterback. The Jets had high expectations, dreams of a Super Bowl, and a serenity not seen in years. It took all of one series to change that. Aaron Rodgers done for the season with a torn Achilles. Head coach Robert Saleh was despondent last night. Today, he's trying to rally his team and said, don't write them off.
I don't know why people are trying to put an obituary onto our team name. Aaron is an unbelievable piece to this whole thing, and we love him. But I think there's 52 other guys in the locker room, plus the 16 practice squad guys that believe that we can do a hell of a lot of good things here.
It's Zach Wilson's show now. They said that they will bring in another quarterback eventually, Tim Boyle, the backup. Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson will miss the next several weeks with a hamstring injury. The Mets have reportedly hired former Brewers executive David Stearns as their new president. He'll start at the end of the regular season. Yankees and Red Sox today, first of two at Fenway, won by New York by a score of 3-2. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds. So we're trying to find some names that the Jets are reaching out to. Our buddy Jordan Schultz has a interesting report. He says that GM Joe Douglas has reached out to former Chiefs backup Chad Henne, who recently retired. Apparently, Henne has a relationship with Nathaniel Hackett. And, you know, Henne's a good backup.
Was he in Jacksonville with Hackett?
That must be what it was. Yeah.
Was he Bortles' backup?
Yes, I believe he was. Was Henne the guy who got blown up in that? Oh, no, that was Matt Moore, who got blown up by Bud Dupree in the playoff game. Okay, Chad Henne came and played really good, but he's a backup, Maggie. Like, he's not taking the job from Zach Wilson. If you sign someone like that, doesn't that say that Zach Wilson is the real starter?
Well, Robert Saleh said that earlier today, that they're inquiring about veteran quarterbacks, but not to come in to compete with Zach Wilson, only to back up Zach Wilson, which they have Tim Boyle for, which I thought, why wouldn't you just have Tim Boyle then? He was with Hackett and Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess Boyle's like an assistant coach / backup. But I think this acquisition tells you everything about what they're thinking. If they get a guy who's a little bit younger who can compete with Zach, they don't believe in Zach, they get Chad Henne. They're rolling the dice on Zach Wilson. I'm pro Zach Wilson. I'm going to say it right now. I think you and Sam are way too down on him.
Well, if he can learn to play point guard a little bit more and not turn the ball over, but I don't see where Zach Wilson has ever shown you that.
Forget about point guard. You need to know how to play quarterback.
Well, I'm just saying, if he can't play quarterback, at least play point guard and just distribute the ball a little bit more. It's just the problem is he's good for, at least a turnover or two a game. That's going to be really hard to get out of him at this point.
this point, you take a turnover a game from Josh Allen.
Oh, my gosh.
They would have won by 3 touchdowns if he had had 1 turnover.
I know. It's like if he had just not turned the ball over. Anyway, my Bills' misery is at an all-time low right now.
I've been thinking about it more. You lost the turnover battle 4-1 and went to overtime. What does that tell you?
Well, that's the silver lining. The Jets don't really have a silver lining right now. They do, the defense, the playmakers.
And they keep their draft pick, too. That's a big silver lining.
They do keep the draft pick, but they're in a win now. I mean...
Why? They have the incredibly young team other than their ancient quarterback.
Yeah. The silver lining, obviously, for Buffalo is that this is a wake-up call. And this is Josh Allen, all right, really get serious here about trying to be a smarter player.
Totally. And week 1 is for that. Week 1's an odd week. And that was an odd game last night. There was a lot of energy around Aaron Rodgers. You don't buy this, but I think there could have been an emotional letdown. I mean, that
to me means the Bills are mentally weak. If you can't then step on the neck of your opponent after they lose the franchise quarterback after 4 snaps, then what are we doing?
I have a news flash for you. Your Bills are mentally weak.
No kidding.
The last 4 seasons isn't showing you that.
Yeah, thank you, bro. The last 40 years of my life. Thank you.
The Chiefs are not mentally weak, and they completely had an emotional letdown against the Lions.
They were missing 2 of their best players.
Yeah, but they could have won. They were up. They easily could have won that game. They just sort of had mental lapses and did un-Chiefs-like things.
Well, chalk this up to an all-time backfire. And I was like, I understood with this story where Packer fans were coming from. So there's a bar in Milwaukee. Was it called Joe's American, right? Was the name of it? Joe's American. They started a promotion that they were going to give free drinks, free bar tabs every time the Jets lost. Sort of like an in-your-face to Aaron Rodgers, goodbye, good riddance, don't want you anymore, and not just that, going to revel every time you lose, because there were a couple stipulations. One, Rodgers had to start the game. Now, they never said he had to finish it. He had to start the game. It couldn't be on opposite a Green Bay game. No food, just the bar tab. Okay. So Rodgers goes down after 4 plays last night, and apparently the Packer fans really started to feel themselves. So they're running up bar tabs all over the place, Perloff, at this bar in Milwaukee. And then the Jets come back and win. This is what it sounded like, courtesy of CBS 58 in Milwaukee.
I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to Rodgers, but tonight I'm thinking with my wallet instead. And the mood has changed considerably. That is because the Jets just won the game on a long touchdown in overtime. You could take a look. This is the reaction from a bar where people are realizing the bar tabs they've been racking up all night, thinking, certainly with Rodgers hurt, the bar was going to be paying that tab. It is setting in. They are going to have to go to the bar and pay that tab.
I'm sorry, it's Jack's American. Jack's American Pub. And all those people who ran up those bar tabs thinking that, you know, Zach Wilson was going to totally bleep the bed, they had to pay up at the end of the night.
Okay.
It's a little karmic come back to you.
Been to Milwaukee a few times.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they are going to get hammered anyway, regardless of this promotion. I don't even want to hear it. There's no way they drank more beer than they were going to drink already. I saw a lot of the interviews. Everyone who was interviewed at that bar was definitely downing at least 11 beers.
Wow. Well, but maybe you're going a little more high-end beer. Maybe you're adding some shots into it. Maybe you're trying to go top shelf on something.
I think I'd like to see the consumption numbers this week compared to next week, because I'll bet you they are high on both sides.
Well, I guess, is this a little bit of a karmic, backlash where you go to get the promotion rooting for someone to lose? Is that bad for your karma?
Yeah.
Rooting against Aaron Rodgers.
I see what you're saying.
No one was rooting for him to get hurt, but
I didn't feel, it's funny. I know some Packers people on Twitter. I didn't feel like anyone was rooting badly against Aaron Rodgers. Have you noticed or heard any of that? Feels like they were ready to move on. Because you know what it was? Because they won week 1. They beat the Bears. Yeah. So Packers fans were not, I didn't sense a lot of, I want to see Aaron Rodgers fail. I did want the free beer. I'm sure that was legit.
Yes.
But I don't see a lot of gloating in Green Bay, but I could be missing it. Maybe they are feeling very self-satisfied about this.
Well, I mean, the fact that Rodgers got hurt now kind of changes it. If they had just imploded and been this drama fest, and it's good thing we've got that out of the organization now. We've got Jordan Love. But the fact that Rodgers gets hurt really changes things.
Well, I think the big thing, the fact that they got a decent game out of Jordan Love in week 1, I think that was a huge sigh of relief. Now they're like, okay, it's time. They're so used to this succession plan.
Yeah.
They probably all secretly think this is going to work because that's what we do at the Packers. We get rid of the old quarterback. He goes somewhere else, and the new guy's a star. So I don't know. A free beer, that is important to them. But I'm telling you, Maggie, tune in next Monday. It's going to be like, I thought the promotion was still going on. I don't even know what's going on there.
I guess as long as you just keep beating the Bears, all's right in the world.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
Yeah, I got to tell you, though, I'm a little worried. I went back and watched a condensed, like a highlight version of Jordan Love's throws.
Yeah.
He did not do much against the Bears, Maggie. 15 for 27. I don't know if Jordan Love, I think the Packers fans are feeling themselves right now. There's a long season ahead. I'm not sure I saw it from Jordan, my guy this week. So right now they're feeling great. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Jordan Love is a winning game. There is a long season. I'm worried the overreaction is too positive on that side.
Thomas L's in the chat. Through the first week's game, Love is tied for the most touchdown passes in the NFL. He also has the longest completion, 51 yards, the highest passer rating, and his 9.1 yards per attempt is third.
Yeah, but 15 for 27?
Here's the one thing I was impressed with Jordan Love because I didn't start as a believer, but I just also can't tell if the Bears are just really bad.
You think?
It's possible. They're just super bad.
How about the fact they were the worst team in the league last year? And, yeah, they didn't even look really spicy at all on offense.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Gabe is in Texas, got an idea for who the Jets should call in as the backup quarterback or maybe to replace Zach Wilson. Hey, Gabe.
Hey, guys. I had a thought. How about either Trey Lance or Cooper Rush? And maybe these guys, the Cowboys, can get a couple of draft picks back.
You know, Gabe, Jerry Jones was asked about it. He said no, but Big Dave and other Cowboy fans are calling BS on that. I think it'd be more if it is Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, who do you think that the Cowboys would be more likely to part with? Say the draft compensation's equal.
Oh, I think Trey Lance, because he just got there.
Yeah, I do.
Well, actually, I mean, listen, I just looked at it. Cooper Rush signed a 2-year, $6 million contract, where Trey Lance presumably is worth more because he went in the 4th round. So there's more value. 2 years, $6 million is pretty much as low as you can get for a backup. So I think Lance is a more valuable player, but right now the Cowboys are in win-now mode, so they'll keep the veterans. But I don't think they're trading either of them. The Jets are not giving up a second-round pick for Trey Lance, so what's the point?
I don't know. I mean, listen, it depends how desperate they are. But if you're that desperate because you feel like you've gone all in this season and you don't just want this Rodgers situation to derail you, Trey Lance isn't riding in on a white horse here. Like, if you're going to trade draft compensation, it'd be for Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford or someone who's a bit more of a sure thing. Trey Lance hasn't proven anything in this league.
Yeah, by the way, Trey Lance has a sort of alternate version. His name is Zach Wilson. They're basically
same draft.
Right now, the same draft, same guy, same level of success. Matthew Stafford's, I mean, the Rams could meet the Jets in the Super Bowl the way Matthew Stafford looked at week 1.
I know.
Forget that.
But it'd only be if the Rams are trying to look big picture here and thinking about Caleb Williams and trying to get another quarterback. They look great.
They just beat a playoff team 30-13.
I get it, but Matthew Stafford is also like not the picture of health.
Well, first of all, I mean,
spine injury.
So you think there's a possibility they would trade him? Of course not.
Not right now.
Not right now. First of all, if Aaron Donald plays like he did like then and Stafford plays like he did there, they're a playoff team.
Michael is in Ohio. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing excellent.
I just told Samter on the phone that when I seen that happen when Aaron Rodgers went down last night, he was the first person I thought of, and he explained to me that he was laying in a puddle of his own tears, which I felt so bad. But
no, it's okay. He's off the Jets now. He's now a Chiefs fan, so don't feel bad for him anymore.
Well, yeah, I can't either. I'm a Raiders fan. You can't go on the Chiefs now. I'm a Raiders fan. But no, I wanted to ask you, Maggie. I mean, if it couldn't get any worse, I love Josh Allen and the Bills, but what's going on with the owner now? You have to deal with that today with the black players in 2020. If they don't like it here, they can go back to Africa. Like,
so
how
embarrassing.
Does that even happen?
Michael, I have no idea. And what Michael's talking about is a lawsuit that's been brought up by Jim Trotter, who is a former employee for NFL Network, and also worked with Perloff and I at Sports Illustrated. An incredible gentleman of a guy and amazing. He is suing the NFL for wrongful termination. They did not, or is it wrongful termination? They didn't pick up his, offer him a new contract because he had been critical of the league's bad record on diversity. And as part of this lawsuit, he relays a story that was told to him where Terry Pegula, the owner of the Bills, makes an overtly racist remark, allegedly, in front of a group of people. If this is to be true, and I have no reason not to trust Jim Trotter, but if this turns out to be true, then this is like a Donald Sterling situation. He has to be suspended indefinitely, and I don't know what the next steps are after that, Perloff. With Donald Sterling, his wife actually sold the team. The NBA wasn't able to take it away from him, but a horribly embarrassing look for Terry Pegula and for anyone associated with Pegula.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to withhold judgment because it's the lawsuit. Trotter did not hear him say it. He heard from another person that he said it. So Pegula presumably could go to court. I think we'll find out a lot more.
And he's defended himself. Pegula says he did not say this at all.
Well, it'd be interesting. Do they settle with Jim Trotter? It's a racial discrimination lawsuit. A lot more could come out here. I mean, listen, I would love to see discovery in this case.
I doubt that you're going to get billionaires taking the stand in this case. I bet it does settle, but if that is true, reprehensible, awful, no place for it.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We were talking about sports triggers. Mike is in Pennsylvania, has got one.
We never should have let Jimmy Butler go.
No.
Come playoff time?
I was tickled by it. He's got a laugh that makes me laugh. People said Kawhi Leonard in the chat.
Yeah, very much. Wow. Wow. Maggie, I think the Sixers are going to win the NBA championship this year.
The Bills will win a Super Bowl.
Don't say that.
The Jets will have a solid, dependable, steady season with no drama.
That's so good.
Can I just do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mets are going to figure it out.
That's just mean. We're just piling on Maggie.
It's so easy.
I threw in the Jets, too.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What do the Jets do now, if anything? Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on this day after Aaron Rodgers' last 4 snaps on offense for the New York Jets before he goes down with a torn Achilles. Perloff, it's the question that everyone's asking today, and there's not a lot of easy answers.
No, it's basically a hodgepodge of has-beens and never was that could be coming into the Jets building right now. I'm telling you, it's going to be at least a little bit of Zach Wilson here, and I'm curious to see it.
Let's get the thoughts of someone who has been in the big chair, someone who knows exactly what the Jets are dealing with today, and that's our pal Thomas Dimitroff, former general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, now the CEO of Sumer Sports. And Thomas, we thought of you immediately, so thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
Maggie and Perloff, great to be on. I appreciate it. I can't believe, and I can't imagine what Joe Douglas is going through as a general manager, right? Think about it. Everything they did to lead up to this point, the draft picks, the money, the pressure coming off of a quarterback like Zach, and how it's all going to play out. This is obviously a huge deal. And how do you navigate it? How do you continue to lead? You have to figure out the next quarterback, of course, right? Of course, you know where I'm going there. I'm telling them, get Matt Ryan in there.
Yeah.
You guys can take your shots at Matt Ryan, but maybe Matt is a guy that you need to be in there. Veteran guy that comes in. You know, that is something that's been on my mind. But there are a lot of discussions that need to be made, and there are emotional discussions. Believe me, I know Robert Saleh's like, this isn't about this team. This is a great team. It is, but this is like nothing I've ever seen. I did not run into this in Atlanta. Matt Ryan missed 1.5 games his entire career.
Thomas, it's funny. I was digging into your past to see this situation with you. When I figured Ryan must have gone down once and you had to sign a backup. It never happened. So how did you, throughout your 12 years in Atlanta, figure out the backup role? Did you want a young developing guy, or what was the strategy even?
Well, we had some veterans there, of course. We knew we needed certain people in there that were going to take over, given our strength within our team, right? Early years, later on, believe me, Arthur Blank was knocking on my door a lot. Thomas, you are flying from the seat of your pants here. And if we lose Matt, we are in trouble. Thank God we never did. But we were always trying to think about the younger quarterback, bringing them up through the ranks, drafting. We did not do a lot of drafting of that. I got quite lucky. If I could do it again, no question, I would be drafting a quarterback every draft.
Wow. And listen, the 49ers took Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and he ended up winning 8 games for them. But let's just take it back to the Jets for a moment. Thomas Dimitroff, in your opinion, is there any way they can just stay with Zach Wilson, or have the expectations and the team that they've already put together, is that too much of a win-now team to roll the dice with Wilson?
Look, Maggie, I think they have to stay with Wilson. It's a roll of the dice, sure. No one's truly sure how this is going to play out. You saw some of the early plays. Of course, what did he have? 140 yards? Was that his total passing yesterday? They have to believe in him. I don't know what else you can do. You can't bring a run-of-the-mill. You can't bring in Carson Wentz. As much as I want to push Matt, those guys aren't coming in to turn it around. I believe you have to go with your quarterback that you put it into, and you have to hope that he has truly evolved over the last year, as Robert Saleh has said he has.
Thomas, when you talk about other quarterbacks coming in after week 1, probably after week 2, because it's a short week, is the system really important? Does it have to be somebody who has experience in Nathaniel Hackett's offense, or can a veteran quarterback, say a Matt Ryan, who might not have experience in that particular offense, learn it quickly?
I think they can learn it quickly. I think the veteran quarterback can learn quickly. I think, of course, when you're talking about a coach like Hackett, aside from his head coaching situation there, he's a really smart coach, very communicative, and I think the older veteran coaches would bond with him well.
Okay, so Thomas Dimitroff joining us, former general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, now the CEO of Sumer Sports. You think bring in a veteran, but that veteran would be to back up Zach Wilson, and ultimately you do have to ride with Zach Wilson. Is that a tough sell to a locker room? It was only a year ago that the rest of the Jets were wearing T-shirts that said Mike White on it, who is the former back of the Jets. Zach Wilson really didn't ingratiate himself well with that team, and now they've just been sold Rodgers for the last 6 months.
Well, I think they're selling Rodgers, but I believe they have also been selling the heir apparent, eventually letting Zach get to a point where he's evolving. Again, we have to believe what Robert Saleh is saying, right? I know he's a leader of the team and he has to be upbeat. He has to keep morale going. And that's the only way you could do it. And you have to believe, you have to get creative. You have to give this kid legitimate confidence. When he's kicked, was was the early, was it the second throw was an interception yesterday? Those are tough things as a team. You're hanging on the edge of your seat, waiting to see the kid take over and do what he needed to do after this very difficult injury. And it's just going to take some time. You have to go with it, Maggie. I don't think you can do it any other way at this juncture in the season.
Thomas, do you have to call Tom Brady? Just even to hear him say no, you got to hear from him, right?
Yeah, I think you have to hear from him, sure. Can you imagine that? Wow.
Yeah, they were just honoring him in Foxborough on Sunday, and now he would join the division rival on Tuesday. I don't know.
On the division rival. That's where my head was going. I'm thinking, can you imagine? Oof. I think you have to do your due diligence. You have to beat every path for sure. But in the end, no one feels more comfortable, I would say, than a guy that's been in their building for 2 years now or whatever it is, moving forward. So that's what I would have to do to be comfortable enough and look at the owner in the eye and say, look, we did draft this guy because we believed in him. We have to go with him.
So at Sumer Sports, I know you guys talk a lot about sort of team building. Are we going to see a Super Bowl team that's kind of built like the Jets, where it's defense first, running, kind of like the Niners? So it feels a little bit like some teams are zigging while, the Patrick Mahomes are zagging in the world. Can you really win without elite quarterback play in today's NFL?
I've had this conversation so many times. I don't believe you can. I believe the sort of midline quarterback, I hate to call him middling, but the midline, the solid, adequate quarterback can get you to a certain spot. I just think it is so complicated to win with that quarterback if you're not thriving. You need those thriving moments. You need the ball to bounce your way. I believe in that all the time. The fortune has to be on your side, but you have to have the explosiveness, big playability that big quarterbacks, bring to the table. If you don't have that, I just think you're going to be in that 9 area, right? It's tough to take it to the final game if you don't have the thriving QB.
Well, what about the 49ers with Brock Purdy? Great start. Is it possible Purdy is that guy, an elite quarterback?
It's so funny because going into the year, I had said to people, I'm like, look, I love what he's done up to that point. Great. I also believe the coordinators in this league are wildly intelligent. They're working all off season to kick his butt because, who is this young guy coming in to have us run roughshod on us? And then to see him kick off the season the way he did the other day, it's going to be really, really fun to watch how he develops. And I know the team is behind him a lot, right? So, the Mr. Relevant coming in, being what he can be, another great storyline, 2 opposite ends of the spectrum in New York and San Fran as far as a movie line, right?
Thomas Dimitroff is joining us, CEO, Sumer Sports, former general manager with the Falcons, spent a lifetime in the NFL. Thomas, so this is not the question maybe today for the Jets, but once the dust settles on this and they figure out what they're going to do with quarterback or move forward with Zach Wilson, do you think they're expecting that Rodgers is going to come back from this torn Achilles and play next year? Like, would they be thinking that way? Like, hey, it's all right. He's going to rehab at 40 years old, and we're going to get him back next year and be ready to go again and take another shot at this thing.
Of course, I don't want to speak for Joe Douglas, but my mind, if I'm sitting there, and I wasn't a naysayer negative guy, I would be thinking, there's no way he comes back. He's so close to it as it is. I just don't see that happening. If it happens, so be it. When you start talking about $75+ million guaranteed money, there's a lot of cash involved over the next year and 2 years. A second round pick now. My head is, I am in the side of the office at my office in New York. If I'm Joe, and I'm spending a lot of introspective time trying to figure out the next steps for this organization. And that is on Joe. That's a big deal. And it's a big deal for the head coach. So the owner's going to have to watch this closely, of course.
Thomas, just want to ask you about a couple other teams. Your former boss, Bill Belichick. I think the Patriots played pretty well week 1, but there's a lot of smoke about him being on the hot seat this year. I mean, do you think that if the Patriots don't make the playoffs, is there a chance that Robert Kraft will move on?
It's so tough for us to say that, right? Because, you can argue whatever you want to argue. He is one of the very best, if not the best ever to coach the position as a head coach. And yet times move sometimes. And I think things are going to come together. I think more. But look, how old is Coach Belichick now? I think he's 70 right now, and still has the sharpest mind of, we see him at these owners' meetings, the way that he handles himself. He's going toe-to-toe with everyone. I just think if that ever happened, Andrew, he's picked up in a heartbeat, and he'll thrive with the next team that he's going to be with. That's my take.
Wow. Tom Landry got fired in Dallas. It does happen in this league, right? Almost all the legendary guys eventually leave.
I don't see it happening. It's hard for me to imagine it, but if it does, look, I think Bill still has 10+ years coaching in this league.
Wow. Going to 80, into his 80s.
Imagine? I think those of us who have worked with him know how incredibly acute he is and capable he is. Maybe that's what it is, Maggie, because it's so ingrained in our minds.
Maggie's a Bills fan, Thomas. You just ruined her afternoon. It's like one more decade of this?
I was thinking about Marv Levy, who always kind of looked 80, even when he wasn't, but amazing coach. Yes, and I'm a Bills fan, so I'm a little concerned from what I saw last night with Josh Allen. Am I off base, or should I be concerned, Thomas? I watch every game, and this is not something that just started last night with the Jets.
Look, I was surprised it happened, of course. I really like what the Bills are doing. I like how they build. I like their organization. I like their head coach, their GM. I like what they put together. They have a quarterback who is obviously very talented. I'm a big believer in, however, it doesn't matter how talented someone is, when the time comes to crunch time, that's when you're truly gauging your quarterback. And that's going to be an important thing. And, oh, by the way, can I add, back to your former head coach you're talking about, he was the one with the most profundity out there that said, depth is great. This is Marv Levy until you have to use it.
I know. He also has my favorite line, which is, if you listen to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. That's attributed to Marv as well. So last one, Thomas, going back to the Jets for a second. So there's been some talk about there. I know you've said roll with Zach Wilson, bring in a veteran, but there has been some ideas floated out that, use that second overall pick and trade for somebody and go out there and really try to poach somebody else off of another roster. Would you be in favor in that? Like, you're in for a penny, in for a pound here. Should they just really go all in?
I think you have to lead in like, hey, we are behind Zach 100%.
Got it.
But it is up to management, Joe Douglas and co, to do their due diligence on it. No question about it. That's tough when it gets out though, right? But it's not being malicious or duplicitous in any way. That's their ultimate job, to do the best for the organization. And if there is someone out there that all of a sudden is a legit trade situation, I think you have to consider it. Again, we don't know what they're feeling about Zach at this point. If we're believing what a head coach is talking about in all of this, then I just think they're going to have to stay there until something legitimate comes out. And it could be an interesting trade. That's a good GM move on your part.
Well, I'm also thinking, because I'm trying to think a little Machiavellian in this way, that if the Jets called me about my backup and I was not interested in trading them to the Jets, like say the Dallas Cowboys or something, I would leak that to the media immediately, just to muddy the waters a little bit. Am I the bad guy?
You're not the bad guy. No, you're not the bad guy. I like it. Good thought.
Thomas, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. Again, to get the insider's perspective, it's invaluable to us. Sumer Sports, check them out. Doing some really creative and unique things in the sports space, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, keep your buddy Eric Eager in line, okay, Thomas? He can be a handful.
He's in the other office, and he was wondering if you guys are going to pull him on another day. Maybe one day we'll do a double with him.
I'd love it.
That'd
Anytime.
be awesome. Thank you so much, Thomas Dimitroff. Of course, again, CEO, Sumer Sports, doing some really cool things about, as Perloff said, team building and how to do things the right way.
Yeah, he has a show with Eric Eager, who's really analytical, thinking this brings up so many interesting questions. Isn't it amazing he never had to have a backup for Matt Ryan? He was in Atlanta from 2008 to 2020.
I'd buy a lottery ticket or something. I mean, that is great luck.
But a couple of big lines stood out there to me, and they're relevant to the Jets. He would draft a quarterback every year.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but the one that he thinks Belichick 71 is going to go to 81. I can see it, because what is Bill Belichick going to do? What else is he going to do?
I don't know. And also the idea about, getting behind Zach Wilson and then bringing in a veteran, but not, that it's too, even now, week 2, it's just too late to bring somebody in, is what you said.
Yeah, I just think it's really hard. I mean, listen, Baker Mayfield pulled a miracle win out of his butt last year.
Yeah.
Learning the playbook on the Jet, but I also don't think the options are so good. That being said, if you give Zach Wilson a try, that could be 5 weeks, and then you go to the backup.
Well, listen, Thomas obviously loves Matt Ryan, saying to bring Matt Ryan in. I think Matt Ryan probably wins the job, doesn't he, over Zach Wilson?
I worry about a stationary quarterback behind the line, because the line, that was the big question coming in. Is the line going to be good? And I think,
early
4
returns.
plays with Aaron Rodgers. And also, Zach Wilson didn't really have a ton of time either. He
was running backwards.
That could be the Bills' pass rush. They looked pretty spicy to me.
I thought the Bills' pass rush looked fine. I didn't love the defensive game plan for them. It's like, all right, you rush the passer. You know what Zach Wilson is going to do 9 times out of 10. Hand the ball off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me do a little exercise to make you feel better. Add Von Miller to that pass rush.
Yeah, no, now I feel good about it.
I don't know. Maybe the Bills figure out some things.
Well, they've spent enough first-round picks on the pass rush. I mean, it should be good. It's just...
All is not lost in Buffalo, Maggie. I want to hear you say it. I want to hear you say it, because you were pretty down.
All is not lost in Buffalo, and all is not lost for the New York Jets. I really do believe that. I think they have a formula here.
You're on an island on that one.
All right, coming up, was not expecting this story from one of the league's all-pros. This one really caught us by surprise. So we got that for you coming up in just a moment. Also, your thoughts on who the Jets should bring in as a backup quarterback, and will Aaron Rodgers play again? That was another thing that Thomas Dimitroff said about Rodgers.
What's that?
About whether he'd not play again. You can't be banking on the fact that he's going to be able to come back from an Achilles at 40.
Not at all. That is supposed to be the most brutal rehab, too. I just think Rodgers can't go out like that.
Me neither.
Yeah. And also, too, he's not someone who's afraid of hard work at all. I mean, he's put it in his whole life.
And I think it's ego. I think your ego gets in the way.
And he loves being in New York. I think he wants to hang on to this. Yeah, I think he wants to keep going to Broadway shows.
Yeah, you can't do that unless you're the quarterback of the Jets. Everyone knows. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, a lot more to do. Maggie and Perloff back in moments on CBS Sports Radio. And this show is sponsored in part by BetterHelp. Do you ever find that just as you're trying to fall asleep, your brain suddenly just won't stop talking? Do your thoughts start racing right before bed or at other inopportune moments? Well, it turns out one great way to make those racing thoughts go away is to talk them through. Therapy gives you a place to do that so you can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace, Perloff.
We've all been through some unpredictable times over the past few years, and it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/MNP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MNP.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We are scouring the interwebs to find any news of who's going to take over for Aaron Rodgers. But I understand there's even a new scenario that might be unfolding.
Well, this one I have to thank the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Brian in the chat said, I see the movie script now. Rodgers is supposed to take the Jets to the Super Bowl glory, but he gets injured. Then he becomes the quarterback coach and coaches Zach Wilson to Super Bowl glory.
I got to tell you, if Zach Wilson wins the Super Bowl this year, there will be a movie.
Yeah, like Kurt Warner.
Yeah, and who does Zach Wilson look like? Ryan Gosling or somebody? No. He gets Jared Goff looks like Ryan Gosling. Zach Wilson. Who would play Zach Wilson? Zach Efron. Zach Efron. That's
A little old now, no?
Well,
Zach Wilson's like 22.
Yeah, but Zach Efron always looks like he's 20.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's going on with Zach Efron's face. We love the idea, and this is why the idea is so good. Because Rodgers probably can't be around the team now for the next couple weeks because he's going to have surgery and then he's going to have to rehab it. But if the Jets are winning, Rodgers is coming back to cheerlead.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to come back. He's going to be around the team. And if somehow Zach Wilson did take the Jets to the Super Bowl, Rodgers 100% taking credit for it.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah. I think it's right. I mean, he played 4 snaps.
Yeah, of course. Why shouldn't he take credit for that? Nathan is in Los Angeles, has an idea for the Jets. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing well.
My thought is I'm looking a little bit further down the line. Obviously, the Jets need to find some kind of stopgap to back up Zach Wilson for now. But I'm thinking more toward the trade deadline.
Okay.
Could you see the Jets making a play, depending on how things are going, for Kyler Murray, who by then will be healed up?
Kyler's mobility would be interesting with the Jets.
Well, you think a running quarterback behind this, bit of a leaky offensive line. Nathan, thank you for the call. Could be the right move.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Kyler that still has to be solved is Kyler has to run back about 9 feet to see over the lineman. There's definitely an issue there. So for him to adjust to a brand new system immediately, that sounds like a lot. Also, Kyler came in with Cliff. I don't think he knows anything about Hackett's offense.
Yeah, can he play another way? I think would be a question.
Yeah.
And is he dedicated? I mean, I think that's still fair to ask about Kyler Murray ever since the homework clause. Now you're going to, listen, you can find distractions anywhere, but New York can be very distracting.
Well, the homework clause was so ridiculous. If a real organization would never put that in there. So I'm not holding that against him, but West Coast, Hackett, you drop back and get rid of the ball. Did not work with Russell Wilson at all.
Yep.
So you're going to go to another short quarterback? I'm not sure.
Great point. John is in Texas. Hello, John.
Hello.
What do you have for us?
Okay, well, Aaron Rodgers, boy, yeah, what a big disappointment. All that build-up and this, that, and the other, and the players that followed him from Green Bay.
I know.
He couldn't have scripted this in a movie.
4 freaking snaps. 4. He didn't even complete a pass.
No.
But he is 1-0 as a starter for the Jets.
Yeah. He's the winningest quarterback in their history. Jets have the distinction of having a Hall of Fame quarterback who never completed a pass and having a Hall of Fame coach who never coached a game. Bill Belichick resigned before the season.
But, as far as the replacement, from all indications were, after the fact was that if the 49ers didn't have a quarterback going to the Super Bowl, that they already had Phillip Rivers in line to come in.
Yep.
That wouldn't hurt. I mean, that was still young enough.
So,
and as far as it being the biggest disappointment in the NFL, well, back in '69, the Jets won the Super Bowl against the Colts.
Yeah.
The following year, they were headed back. They made it to the playoffs. They were looking good, but just barely lost to the Chiefs in the opening round, who went on to win the Super Bowl. And then the following year, again, there's a big hype around New York. Joe Namath, he's so young, and then all of a sudden he blows out his knee in preseason. And it just brought that train to a screeching halt for the whole year. Everything they wound up going 3-11. And ironically, that it happened to as a member of the Jets.
Well, John, and thank you for the phone call and good call there. And then there's more bad Jets connections here where 1999, where the Jets were coming off of an appearance in the AFC Championship game, were all set to run it back with Vinny Testaverde, and he blew his Achilles out in the season opener. Phillip Rivers last played a game January 3rd of 2021.
Was that a regular season or playoff?
I'm sorry, actually. Hold on one second. I think he played a postseason game after that. January 9th, pardon me, so 2021. That was the loss in Buffalo.
The Colts lost to the Bills, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a while since he's been in a uniform is where I'm going with that.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Ryan's much more recent. Gosh, this is like 14 imperfect options.
There are no good options here.
There are really no good options here.
I think Mike White actually would have been the best option, but he's the backup for the Dolphins.
I really want to see him go off the board. I want to see a Blake Bortles, a Tim Tebow, Taysom Hill. Just bring in something super entertaining. But I don't know. Well, Blake Bortles would be really fun.
Where has anyone even seen Bortles?
Yeah, he's part of my take. He's Blake of the Year. He's sort of a partner of Big Cat and Big Dick.
I know, but not
he's always building a house. And he's on there all the time. People know more about Blake Bortles than some active quarterbacks.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's building a new house in Florida with all that Jacksonville money. I have no idea. I feel like Blake Bortles had a great season, 35 touchdowns. I've never seen a guy fall off so fast, so hard.
That was it. It was over.
Over.
So this was an interesting one. You guys may remember a couple months ago when the Taylor Swift tour first started, the one that crashed Ticketmaster and was crazy. Travis Kelce was on his podcast, New Heights podcast, and he relayed this story about trying to make contact with Taylor.
I was a little butthurt I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets I made for her.
You made her a bracelet?
Yeah. If you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, and I received a bunch of them being there, but I wanted to give Taylor Swift one with my number on it. Not right now. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me, so I took it personal.
Okay, well, apparently now Kelce might be able to shoot his shot. According to The Messenger, the Chiefs tight end and the world-renowned singer-songwriter Perloff, quote, have been quietly hanging out. Quote, she saw him when she was in New York City a few weeks ago.
Okay.
How about that?
At this level of stardom and everything, quietly hanging out means they're in a relationship, right? They're dating. You don't hang out they're not like friends. It's like, hey, why don't you come over, Taylor, and we'll watch a movie? That's not how it works.
Maybe they'll watch a movie, but a little Netflix and chill situation. I don't think they're going out to Applebee's and stuff.
No, but there's no they can't be friends. That means that they're in a relationship of sorts.
Somebody hooked them up, yeah. Maybe
Right.
it ends in a friendship. Maybe it doesn't get romantic, but it starts off as being a romantic thing.
I don't know how this works because I've never been this level, but I feel like Travis Kelce doesn't have women friends.
He might. Why not?
I don't know. I just can't. I picture he's a bit of a playboy. He had that dating show about him.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem. I feel like he.
You could have a good friend from high school or college
Taylor
or something.
Swift?
Well, maybe they're not friends. They're definitely trying it out. If this is true, they're trying it on for size, seeing if there's any chemistry.
That would be a very popular couple. Everybody, Travis Kelce hosts Saturday Night Live, huge popular. Everybody likes Travis Kelce. He's not the most popular player. He's not Tom Brady, but he's very well liked. Taylor Swift, people seem to like. I feel like that would be a big deal.
It's interesting. I wouldn't think that Taylor Swift would want to be dating someone. Kelce is kind of the closest we have to Gronk.
No, because
Kelsey's smarter. Kelsey comes off smart. Gronk is actually pretty smart, probably, but Kelsey's smarter.
Play the clip again, and when he says, and how he mentions the friendship bracelet.
I was a little butthurt I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets I made for her.
You made her a bracelet?
Yeah. If you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, and I received a bunch of them being there, but I wanted to give Taylor Swift one with my number on it. Not right now. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me, so I took it personal.
I mean, a little butthurt and all right now. I mean, you don't think that he's got a little Gronk? He was hosting a music festival when we were in Kansas City for the draft. That might as well be a Gronk cruise.
No, they don't remind. They have different styles of bro-ness.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, Gronk
right
is.
now.
Maybe Travis Kelce isn't drinking a can of beer and smashing it on his head.
If you had heard the can crash on his head right there, then it'd be Gronk. No, Gronk is. Even I watched Gronk on the pregame show the other day. He's still doing that party guy thing, and Did you see him, by the way? Edelman is the new.
Yeah.
He's basically the new straight man to Gronk. I don't know. No, Kelsey, I think, is, I don't know, pretty smart guy. Like, that'd be a good couple. There's like a Midwestern vibe going. I know Taylor Swift's from Reading, Pennsylvania, but
I don't. I would be surprised.
I like that couple.
Well, I mean, listen, it hasn't worked out, and she's been dating actors and all that stuff, so maybe an athlete works out. I have no idea. Meanwhile, Kelsey's knee's okay. He's going to play in Jacksonville.
Wait.
It looks like it's trending that way.
Stu, give us a rundown. Who was Taylor dated? I know you know.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that one's
Jake
probably
Gyllenhaal.
I think John Mayer.
Yeah.
What's it? Harry
Thomas
Styles.
Middleton.
Harry Styles got 2 or 3 songs. Thomas Hiddleston, of course, Loki. Who else?
Was there Jonas in there?
Who's that?
I think there's a Jonas in there at some point. Maybe Joe.
Yes. That came up in the news the other day. One of the Jonas brothers had a problem with Taylor Swift.
Yes. I think one of the Twilight guys, Taylor
Lautner.
Yeah.
Wow, that's old. That's a long time
That's an old one. He showed up at one of her concerts.
Did someone say Harry Styles it?
Yeah, Harry Styles. Yeah, there's no
Yeah, I'm
Travis
sure that one was
Kelce's
real.
on that list.
No Travis Kelce. Maybe a little bit of a departure, you know?
Maybe that's why this one will work.
A little different energy.
And I can't wait for the song that she writes about him.
I mean, I can't imagine, like, Travis Kelce and Harry Styles have to be bringing very different energy. You know?
Not right now. Do you remember Joe Alwyn? He's an actor, right? She was with him for a long time. I don't know. Seems like a fun couple to me. I'd go to dinner with them if they called us up. and like, how does she, like, Jason? Did you guys hear Jason's engagement story the other day?
Yes, I did.
He said on the podcast, he was trying to fool his fiance. So
To go back into the house to ask her parents if he could.
yeah, so he
ask
said
for
he
her-
had to go back into the house for a bathroom emergency.
Yeah. And she was like, all right.
Yeah, she's like, but she knew there was something awry because usually it takes 20 minutes in the bathroom.
Yeah,
and
he
it was
came
back
back
in
too
3.
fast.
Yeah.
She's a keeper.
I have to be honest with Kelsey. You're right. Maybe the Kelsey brothers have a little Gronk in them.
Thank you. I wasn't so far off.
But they're just so lovable, though. You can't.
Here's a
not like
question:
the
how did they get to New York for dinner and nobody spotted them? Gotta
I don't
call
know.
BS on that story.
New York? You can be anonymous in New York. Isn't that one of the things about New York?
Yeah, there's no paparazzi here at all. Like,
yeah, but
people always
if
get
you don't
spotted.
know, yeah, but if you go to an unobvious spot, I feel like celebrities hide in plain sight. I mean, Ack goes all over
I
New York,
know.
and he's a big deal.
Well, he's on page 6 every other day. Jeez, Zach.
I'm usually wearing sunglasses and a hat over my head.
Gotta keep a low profile over here.
Yeah, people are like, who's that walking around in sunglasses and a scarf? Is that Ack or Rihanna? I
can see how you confuse the two of us.
Same, really.
Man,
okay.
I thought that was Zach.
855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. We do have the latest from Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, where their heads are at right now and what the plan is moving forward now that Aaron Rodgers has been shelved for the season. We get back to that after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Jacob.
Not right now.
Sports Flash.
Well, several teams lost players to injury week 1 for significant periods, but perhaps none worse than the Jets, whose season was altered by the torn Achilles injury suffered by Aaron Rodgers. Their outlook went from dreams of a Super Bowl to figuring out how to move forward without a future Hall of Famer. Head coach Robert Saleh, trying to look at the glass half full, said they still have enough talent to get it done.
We're excited about our group. We've worked hard over the last couple of years, players, coaches, scouts, GM, building a pretty cool organization. And so there's still a lot of faith in the locker room on the things that we can still accomplish this year.
Now they turn to former second pick overall Zach Wilson, who will be the starter once again. Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson will be sidelined a few weeks due to a hamstring injury. The Mets have reportedly hired David Stearns as their new president. The 38-year-old Harvard grad spent 8 years with the Brewers and is a New York native. The other New York team, the Yankees, took the first of 2 from the Red Sox today at Fenway, 3-2. Right now, top of the 4th, the White Sox have a 5-0 lead over Kansas City. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Just trying to pick up the pieces now here after this Jets massive injury. Aaron Rodgers tore Achilles last night. He's out for the season. Garrett Wilson on the radio in New York earlier today said, saw Rodgers at halftime, went in, and Rodgers said, "Sorry, kid. I love you." Said it was an emotional scene.
Sorry, kid.
Sorry, kid. Listen, this is already setting up to be a movie. A little bit.
I feel so bad about this injury, and it is good, but I am not going to miss the Jets hype. That is one thing that can go the way of
Listen,
the dodo bird for me.
It's this is the least satisfying outcome.
Yeah,
you don't even get to see whether it worked or didn't work. There's no resolution.
No, I absolutely hate that, but I thought this summer got totally ridiculous. Not us, but just in general. I'm like, you guys realize, like, this is the New York Jets and a 40-year-old quarterback. I thought that the expectations probably got out of control. Yeah. Because you can't, sometimes it works. Everyone's like, well, it worked with Tom Brady. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's going to work everywhere.
Well, it worked with Matthew Stafford.
Stafford was 33.
A little different. Yeah. I just still think the Jets, like, I just think they still have a good team. They've got a good defense. They've got playmakers. I don't trust Zach Wilson at all, even though he's beaten my Bills twice. I don't trust him at all, but can you just get a point guard in there? Can you get a Purdy? Someone like that who can just distribute the ball to your playmakers and not turn the ball over.
Yeah, maybe, but what's that going to do you?
Maybe you're a playoff team. That's still a good step forward. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in a decade.
Yeah, that'd be a good step forward. It's still going to be really tough because of listen. The AFC struggled week one, but it's still going to be pinned with Buffalo, Miami, the AFC North teams. I assume all these teams will figure it out. So we'll see. Listen, the odds they have 8.5 win total right now in Vegas. They were 9.5. It's possible if they win 9 games. That's a good season, right?
I think so. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots.
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. And needed a little Casamigos last night after my Buffalo Bills majorly disappointed. Josh Allen has to know what he's doing is hurting the team. He has been a turnover machine. Earth to Josh Allen. You're not going to win the Super Bowl on every play. He's got to understand that. He has to be smarter. And I'm sorry if this counts as a meltdown. I don't care. We can take the board and we can just shove it in the hallway and push it down the stairs because I can't do this again. He's so good on some plays and so god-awful on others. He's got to be smarter. He's got to realize that the franchise is on his shoulders, but he can't act like the game is on his hand on every down. Perloff, he's got to be smarter. Well,
wow.
Said it a lot there. I stand by it. Also, now the board has been updated. It has been 0 days since I had a meltdown about the Bills.
Okay. It's week one.
I don't care. It's week one, but it's the same old stuff that I've been seeing for the last...
Same place, different day.
Exactly.
Can we put an over-under on how many meltdowns we expect from Maggie this year?
Well, if they keep playing like this, it's going to be 17. So just buckle up, everybody.
16.5 is the number.
Yeah. Do you want to hear how the Mannings reacted to Rodgers getting hurt last night? They had the Manning cast going on ESPN2.
He's down. Wow. It's his ankle. I think they got him in the ankle. Holy. Who is the backup? Richard Todd or Ken O'Brien? Wilson still plays it? Yeah. Could not have been. Holy cow. I cannot believe this. I thought it was just an ankle. I thought we'd go tape it up and get him back in there. Come on.
That was real-time reaction. Richard Todd or Ken O'Brien as the backup. Didn't even know Wilson still played on the team. It's been so much about Rodgers. Forgot about the backup.
What was your initial thought when Rodgers sat down on the field? I never thought ankle once because that's not how you respond to an ankle injury.
Usually you grab for whatever's hurting.
Or you limp around.
Right, or you limp around. I've never seen a guy get hurt and not grab for it. Like even the Achilles, you usually look behind you. Like it looks like feels like someone stepped on your on your heel. he didn't touch anything or do anything. That's why I never thought it was that serious. Then they brought the card out. It was like, oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh, man. And sometimes you hear about Achilles where people describe it like hearing a pistol go off. It's so loud. Our friend Dr. Rock Positano sent me an interesting note this morning. He said calf injuries definitely bring less blood to the Achilles area, make them more vulnerable. So I think...
What's your first thought when he said that?
Well, just no, it was that I think we had understated the importance of Aaron Rodgers' preseason calf injury. We kind of blew that off now that I think about it.
Totally. I mean, he was wearing a sleeve on the calf. We're like, get back out there.
Right. And that actually, my first thought was not Joe Burrow, it was Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Remember, KD hurt his calf, and then he came back a month later and blew out his Achilles, and we saw the Achilles blow out just like this one where you could... I can't watch the video, by the way. Have you watched it up close? Yeah, up close of where...
Yeah, I watched it. It like reverberates. It's so really gross.
Yeah, so...
I'm kind of squeamish anyway.
I went for a run this morning, Maggie. I must have stretched for an hour and a half. And actually, I'm kind of feeling my calf hurt right now. Whenever I read a symptom...
in your head.
But
once the weather gets below 50 degrees, Perloff can no longer jog.
I feel like all us older athletes who are hanging on were definitely a little rattled by what happened last night.
Yeah, and, listen, is there anyone to blame for what happened with Rodgers?
Maybe.
I mean, I think Leonard Floyd is to blame, quite frankly. I just think that I think he just got to Rodgers. I don't think that you can say, listen, we knew the line was going to be a bit of a question mark. Yeah. Maybe Rodgers not getting the ball out, but I didn't see that in the first 3 snaps.
I think it's the turf. I got to be honest. Did you guys see that guy who tweeted?
David Bakhtiari was all over it, and he was not happy about the turf.
Did you see the tweet that went out before? Some random guy tweeted that in 2.5 hours, Aaron Rodgers is going to tear his Achilles on a rain-soaked field. They got $2.5 million retweets or something.
I did see that. Who is
creepy.
That guy?
I think he's just a fan. I don't even know who he is, but it sort of caught fire. That turf. Now, listen, I know there's studies that say it's not a problem. That makes me nervous. It really does. Well, and if the players are saying that, I don't think they're making that up, Maggie.
I think here's I think the question that NFL fans have about this is why not just have the grass?
Right.
Like, we don't have a good explanation for why you can't just have a grass field. Why can't all the stadiums have grass?
I don't know. Why not?
Part of the issue is, especially in cold weather areas, unless you have a dome, maintaining it and keeping the grass healthy is very difficult.
What do they do in Chicago?
Yeah. Lambeau, too. Lambeau's the coldest.
Don't they have grass there?
I guess. There must be something else going on then. But that's the excuse you always hear.
I don't know.
So, by the way...
Somehow don't they have grass in Arizona?
They do, but they actually wheel the field out.
Right.
And they put it back in.
Exactly.
Let's not talk about that crap.
Sorry, we don't want to talk about that with Perloff. Still touchy subject from the Super Bowl.
That makes no sense because Chicago and Lambeau are both grass. So that's like MetLife. They did every single thing wrong. They are the biggest city in the country, and they're building a new stadium around 2010 or 2005. They did not. It's the most generic stadium in the entire league.
The Jets were supposed to have a stadium in Manhattan, but they got screwed out of that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't care anymore.
You know who you can thank for that?
Yeah, who was it?
James Dolan.
Maggie's best friend.
He didn't want
every turn.
Didn't want another venue that close to Madison Square Garden to compete for music acts.
There was so much corruption around that too. Some guy got arrested for all that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know. My brother did a lot of the reporting around that.
I think your brother was involved. Like,
no, my brother was a journalist.
So there's 16 grass fields. If quarterbacks start going down, the NFL's got to fix this. Just go 32 grass fields.
I just don't understand. I just have never heard a great explanation besides Samter saying it's too hard to maintain. It's like, well, you're breaking in billions and billions of dollars. It can't be that hard to maintain.
You play 8 games. Right. It's a big deal.
And a couple playoff games if you're lucky.
I just paid $400 for YouTube. I mean, some of that can go to grass field.
You're lucky you got up with only $400. I paid $500 for it.
Did you get the Red Zone?
No, I already have Red Zone on my cable.
Right. Yeah, neither did I. So, yeah, you probably paid $450 or something, but whatever.
$4.99.
$4.99?
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm watching every minute of that thing. I'm getting my money's worth. I'm watching a 4-box on top of a 4-box on top of a 4-box.
See, I had a lot of problems because I have the Red Zone on my cable.
Yeah.
I have the local games that I can't get, and I have one game on my computer, and I could not multi-box on my computer. You pointed this out. So basically, luckily all the games stunk in the 1 o'clock window anyway.
Well, before we go today, we do want to pay tribute to the Aaron Rodgers Jets era.
Now start to listen to the noise build in the background. Here comes Aaron Rodgers on first down. Handoff Hall, bouncing left. Yeah, he breaks free. Gets out to the 20, 25, 30. Brees Hall all the way out, close to the 40-yard line before he steps out. Rodgers back to throw. Looks left, looks right, under pressure. Scrambling back to his own 25-yard line. Heaves it to the sideline and throws it away. Here comes the blitz. Rodgers looks left, looks right, under pressure. Swings it right. Tipped ball. Incomplete, flag thrown from the secondary.
Everybody hurts. The old me would have been upset by this.
Well, that was it. That was less than a minute. And that's Aaron Rodgers, the 2023-2024 Jets season retrospective. Oh, boy. Too soon? Thank you, Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Thomas Dimitroff, who joined us earlier.
You know who would call in that guy when the TV accidentally caught a Jets fan giving the finger to the camera?
That guy.
That guy just called in the Maggie and Perloff show and said, I like your video.
Thank you to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. We'll be back tomorrow. The callers as well. You guys are awesome. See you. Bye.